Yeah. In the days of old, 5 elements were known: MCing, DJing, graffiti had grown, B-boy and knowledge, the pillars of the game. But a 6th emerged, adding to the flame. Comics and hip-hop, a fusion so tight. Visual storytelling, lyrics that ignite. From the pages to the beats, a seamless blend. The 6th element, where 2 worlds transcend.
Welcome to the 6th Element Show, where comics and hip-hop flow. Reno and Stu guided the way, bringing you the culture every day.
Yeah. In the days of old, 5 elements were known: MCing, DJing, graffiti had grown, B-boy and knowledge, the pillars of the game. But a 6th emerged, adding to the flame. Comics and hip-hop, a fusion so tight. Visual storytelling, lyrics that ignite. From the pages to the beats, a seamless blend. The 6th element, where 2 worlds transcend.
Welcome to the 6th Element Show, where comics and hip-hop flow. Reno and Stu guided the way, bringing you the culture every day. Welcome to the 6th Element Show, where comics and hip-hop flow. Reno and Stu.
There it is. What's up, y'all? 6th Element. We did the theme song twice. Yes, we did. Welcome to the show. Corey Adger. Salute, my brother. What's good? Great show tonight. Got a couple things we're going to talk about. This Ultimate Endgame. Keep an eye out for the Ultimate Endgame of the Ultimate Universe. Number 1 just dropped. We'll definitely take a moment and take a look inside that and check that out. Maybe even read that joint. But mainly, we're going to talk about the movies that we grew up with, movies that we love as children, in the 80s, that we as hip hop heads and children, babies of the 80s, grew up with. The movies that directly also influenced the biggest show in the world right now, Stranger Things, from Altered States, Carrie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Escape of New York, Firestarter, Ghostbusters, Gremlins, Indiana Jones, Nightmare on Elm Street, Jaws, Jurassic Park, Mad Max, Risky Business, Scanners, Stand By Me, Empire Strikes Back, Super 8, Evil Dead, The Exorcist, The Fog, The Terminator, The Thing, Witness. So many films that directly influence direct scenes and direct dialogue and storylines in Stranger Things. And we have it straight from the mouth of the creators of that, the Duffer brothers. And we get into that. Stu Dog, what's up, man? You good in there? Everything coming out okay?
Yes, sir.
You ain't fall in, did you?
No, none of that. Just setting up.
No, I'm just fucking with you. But yeah, man. This Ultimate Endgame book we're gonna talk about. We're talking about Absolute Batman as well, because there's a new spin-off coming out. And speaking of spin-offs, we're also gonna talk about the spin-offs from Stranger Things. Everybody thought it was all over. Everybody thought, oh, well, Elle's dead. That's the end of it. No, actually, there's not only an animated show coming out about a period between 2 of the seasons, but there's a spin-off show, a live action show that the Duffer brothers are actually creating. Probably won't direct themselves or actually showrun themselves, but they're writing it, creating it. And so we're going to talk about how that's going and how that develops from Stranger Things. And about the ending, about how that ended, and is Elle alive and all that good stuff. Well, the Duffer brothers pretty much broke it down, and I think they did a pretty good job as explaining that in the movie itself. I didn't see any, it wasn't like, oh, that who would have known that? No, they did a good job. So yeah, a lot of spoilers if you haven't seen the finale of Stranger Things. Big, huge, mega spoilers on this show tonight. We're also going to look at some action figure goodness. If you know about Conan, the Frank Frazetta universe, Frank Frazetta, the artist that basically gave us the visualization of Conan in the 70s. Conan was created in the 30s, so decades later, this guy Frank Frazetta basically brought Conan to life, brought him to the forefront, made it a household name, made a movie out of it and all that stuff with Arnold. But some action figures coming out that look kind of like the Motu figures, so that's cool. And then Mattel finally getting DC back from the grips of the evil Todd McFarlane. No, Todd's my boy. Todd's great, but what he did with action figures is a goddamn crime. He prosecuted to the fullest extent of toy toy figure law, whatever. He violated at every turn. He violated and continued to violate and just made it just a bad time. But anyway, Mattel's got it back. They got it back. But I don't know if they're doing what we want them to do. I don't know if if it's gonna be what I'm hoping for, what we're expecting, what what they're planning. It doesn't sound well. It's not what I've been hoping for. I was hoping for. We'll get into that. We'll talk about that. You'll see. John Madden, fucking Nicolas Cage is gonna be Madden. That's crazy. That's happening. So all this kind of cool stuff we're gonna get into as we do in our show, as we break things down. As Stu Dog, I don't know, he's building some shit over there. It sounds like he'll be on, but
it's almost done.
He's creating something beautiful for y'all. Look at this. Look at Matt. Look at
like Madden.
He looks like Madden with all that.
It looks like a young man.
Yeah,
he looks like a young man on that one.
Yeah,
he's got. Man's iconic, bro. Like y'all really take your hat off to man what they did.
Only one.
If anybody in the chat has ever watched that documentary, because I know pretty much everybody in the chat has played Madden at one point or another in their life, and thought that they were the greatest Madden player in the world. If you watch that documentary and what they put together and how they did it, I mean, it lasted decades, bro. It's been going on since the 90s. The 80s, actually, to be honest with you, since Sega Genesis.
Oh, the Madden game itself. Yeah.
The Madden game itself, that's what gave John Madden I'll say 95% of his stardom. Yeah, he played ball. Yeah, he coached. But he didn't get as popular as he did until that Madden video. He put his name on that game. I mean, it boosted him into a level of stardom that just
no football. No coach, no announcer, no player. No one has reached
since then. And what they did to put it together, how they meticulously put it together. I was watching one episode where he said his son played it. And his son was like, Dad, it's pretty good, but you got to do this. You got to do this. And we couldn't do this and we couldn't do that. And Madden said that he always wanted it to be the most realistic experience you could get on a video screen that they could produce, at any given time.
He was really involved in the game. In the creation.
Yeah, he was.
I thought they just used his name. They just used his likeness.
I did too.
He didn't have nothing to do with it. Yeah.
No, he literally oversaw it, and he said when his son, called him and told him, things he thought was good. He said they went back and they looked at it, and he said, he was like, oh yeah, we can change that, because you gotta remember it was 2D at first, and then they moved into 3D.
Yeah.
And when they first bought it out, it was only on computer. It wasn't on any consoles. You could play it on PC. And he said the main problem they had when they first bought out, the game was extremely slow, and they had to find a way to speed it up.
Yeah,
they had to find a way to speed it up. He said the sprites were good, the game looked good, it played pretty good. He said,
remember their competition was Tecmo, right? Tecmo, I think, was the only other football video game out.
No, you had a couple of them out. You had Joe Montana. You had Tecmo Bowl. You had it was a bunch of, but they were all based on quarterbacks.
John Madden, I mean, Tecmo Bowl was the only one that was just based on teams, all the teams.
And they didn't even have all the teams. Madden had all the teams. So it was, but that's 8-bit versus 16-bit versus 24.
Yeah, it was technical limitations back then. Even Atari had fucking football.
Yeah, but Madden revolutionized the game. And if you get a chance, you guys watch that documentary. It's actually, it really is worth watching. I learned a lot about Madden that I didn't know about watching it. And I've played a lot of Madden. I can 100% attest to the fact that I played a whole lot of Madden. Of course, I boycott it now, and I don't play it only because I'm a hater. It's just that I don't like what the NFL did with the license. They gave exclusivity to EA, and nobody else can make a football game with the NFL license but EA. And I really think that it hurts the genre, because we'll never get a different football game, and all they got to do is slap a new coat of paint on it every year if they want, which they have been doing, and give it to us, and people buy it. I mean, the game hasn't progressed much innovation wise in the last, in my opinion, the last 10, 15 years. They've made innovations in graphics. It looks better every year. But as far as the game itself, progressing technological wise, it's the same thing.
Mhm.
So people are still playing it. They're still buying it. So I guess that's all EA cares about. And if that's what it is, then that's what it is. But I won't be buying another Madden game or another football game until somebody else makes one with the NFL license. And the NFL doesn't want to give it to anybody, but EA, so that's what we got.
End of MTV hits differently for baby boomers like me, it says. Well, I think it hits differently for Gen X too. I mean, when it launched in 1981, it changed how we heard music, saw music, its tastes, shapes, icons, and the sense of what was cool. I guess it deserves one last chorus by Sting of I Want My MTV. That was the end of MTV. Can you believe it? It's all gone.
Yeah, definitely not what it used to be.
It's a wrap. No, not what it used to be. It's over. They shut it down. It doesn't exist anymore. It's over. They turned it
No,
off.
no, I know that. Yeah,
No
no, I
more
know that.
MTV.
Yeah, no more MTV. Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying. No, it's been a wrap. It's been over. Like MTV's been over. I mean, it's just all reality shows.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not.
Once the reality show shit kicked in, it was no more MTV.
Yeah, yeah. It's no more. They show movies now. They show.
Which I don't understand why the fuck they thought music videos wouldn't continue to be successful. Like I get they wanted to dip into the reality market, but you don't destroy your whole platform just to run into a fad, just to chase a fad. Make a fucking another channel. Like you had the money, make a reality show channel. You don't have to fuck up the music video fucking industry as a whole. Like
Yeah,
motherfuckers, stop making music videos. Just like it's not even an art form anymore, which is a fucking shame because I think it was one of the best art forms that came out of the 80s, man. It was
I agree. I agree.
revolutionized music for sure. There was songs we would have never heard. Whole albums, whole careers that were made from MTV.
Yeah, and they were the only ones doing it. That's the sad part. Like you never had another video show besides Video Music Box, and they were like low budget production. But look how
Yeah,
big
we
they
had
were.
Ralph McDaniels and we had that, but as far as yeah, MTV was a fucking an industry,
Yeah, it was.
a real
And they
industry.
revolutionized the industry. Be honest with you, like they made a or broke careers basically on
Hmm.
MTV. Well, such a shame. Such a shame. All for reality TV, but
Yeah, bro, I feel you. It's Star Wars in chronological order. Check this shit out. Like they started with like they gave us the whole. This is interesting. So for any Star Wars heads like us out there, the whole thing starts with Young Jedi Adventure, the kids show. Wait, what the fuck is going on here? Sorry, the kids show, Young Jedi Adventures, and then the Acolyte is the next thing chronologically. Then you have Justice from the Tales of the Jedi thing with the Count Dooku. Then the episode from that called Choices. Then the episode called Life and Death, all from Tales of the Jedi. Then it goes Episode 1, the prequels. Then it goes the Sith Lord from Tales of the Jedi, Sith Lord episode, Dooku. Then it goes Episode 2. Then it goes the Clone Wars. Then the Clone Wars 1 through 6. Then Tales from the Jedi, another episode from there that it's too small to read. Then Tales from the Empire, Path of Fear. Then Clone Wars 7. Then Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Then you go Devoted, another episode from Tales of the Empire. Then The Bad Batch. Then Realization, which is another episode from Tales of the Empire. Then The Bad Batch Season 2 and 3. Then the episode Resolve from Tales of the Jedi again. Now back to Solo is next. Then Obi-Wan Kenobi, then Andor, then Rebels, then Tales of the Empire, The Way Out, then Tales of the Empire, The Path of Anger, then Rebels season 3 through 4, then Rogue One. Now we're at episode 4, the very first Star Wars movie. Then you got episode 5 and episode 4, 5, and 6 right in a row. There's nothing comes between them yet. Nothing has come between them yet. Then you got Mandalorian, then The Path of Hate, then The Mandalorian season 2, then The Book of Boba Fett, then The Mandalorian season 3, then Ahsoka, then Skeleton Crew, then Star Wars Resistance, then episode 7, 8, then Star Wars Resistance Season 2, and then Episode 9 is the last thing we've gotten from Star Wars. Episode fucking 9, chronologically, is the last thing we've gotten from Star Wars. It's in the timeline. Nothing has happened since. Nothing's been created since for canon, for live action canon. But this is interesting that this show, Tales of the Empire and Tales of the Jedi, really just wove, all through this whole thing, and it's pops up, all throughout it. But I was shocked to find out that nothing happens between episodes 4, 5, and 6. Between every other movie, there's shows, there's cartoons, there's, at least an episode of something that told a story. But there's not been any stories between 4, 5, and 6 between the original trilogy. It's always everything is before the original trilogy or after, nothing during. Which I don't know why, because there's no reason why not. Like I guess the reason why is they don't literally want to recast Luke or Leia or Han. But you can make a movie. I think like the movie Starfighter coming up with Ryan Gosling. That could easily take place anywhere they want. They could put that between episode 4 and 5. They could put it anywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But there were always games and books about, Starfighter. Wedge Antilles and all that. There were always games and books. So you're right, and they could take place anywhere.
Yeah.
They even had a TIE fighter joint, like a whole TIE fighter saga.
TIE fighters and shit. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the Conan, the toys, like I'm gonna get deep into this Stranger Things. We're gonna talk about all the movies that Stranger Things we're gonna show you literally what the Duffer Brothers said and all that. So no speculations, no opinions, no well, I think they meant this, and I think no. We're gonna talk to the Duffer Brothers. Duffer Brothers are gonna tell us this is the scene that we took from this movie. Then we're gonna show you the scene side by side. Then they're gonna, So break it all down. We're gonna talk about the ultimate Endgame joint too. But what happened to? Oh, I think I deleted it. Okay. Well, here's the problem with Mattel. What up, Corey? Man, what up, Slade in the building? My man said didn't like how there was no true answer to what happened to L. We're gonna get into that too because there's not a quote unquote solid confirmation per se, but the Duffer Brothers did confirm that it's pretty much what we think. And so, but there's a very good reason why they left it the way they did. And you're gonna like it. It's actually really cool. So we'll talk about it in just a second. But check this shit out. Mattel is taking over. We were so happy, bro. We were so excited. You know why? We were so excited because DC Multiverse McFarlane figures are absolute butt. They're fucking they're oversized, they're too big, they're too heavy, they're too clunky, the plastic is too weighted, the ankles, the joints do not hold up. You can barely stand the fucking things up without some sort of support system. It's ridiculous. They're just horrible. Their articulation is ridiculous. I could go on for days, honestly, about how bad these figures are, and what's wrong with them. But so I've been excited that Mattel is getting the DC universe back. Well, they're going to change the name from DC Multiverse to DC Universe, only because McFarlane still has the rights to Multiverse until the end of 2026, but they want to get going in July. So starting in July 2026, with a budget-friendly, and here's the thing, this is my disappointment. Now, one of the biggest reasons I wanted Mattel to get it back is because I want some 6-inch figures. I want DC and 6-inch line, just like all the other fucking lines that are out there. Like every line, from Star Wars to G.I. Joe to Marvel, all the other lines, they're 6-inch scale. And that was another problem, that McFarlane just made it 7 inches, which there was no 7-inch lines out there, so you couldn't stand them next to anything else. And a lot of people like uniformity on the shelf. It just doesn't look as good. So the fact that the notion of having a Batman and Joker and Robin, all that shit in the same exact scale as Marvel Legends would just be phenomenal.
Really?
Well,
I like the 7-inch. I always thought that was dope. But McFarlane's always did like.
That's because you fuck with DC basically exclusively, though. If you collected like all the other lines, you would be like, damn, it sucks that they're all this level and then his are up here. It just doesn't. They don't look good with everything else. Like you can't display a Superman and a Batman next to a Spider-Man and an Avengers team because they look they're just two completely different scales, and it's not good for the collector that collects all the lines. So real toy collectors that are actually just collect toys for the sake of collecting action figures, it's not a good look. But
Right.
what's even
But
crazier,
but that's what makes them more distinct. Like
that's the problem. Why do we don't want them distinct? We want them uniform. We want them to look good with everything else. I don't want a
mean,
bunch of different sized figures on the shelf. No one does. Nobody wants that. They want the show. They want everything to be. How can I can't have Batman facing off against fucking Spider-Man. I can never do that. I could never have Superman and Spider-Man go at it on the shelf. I could never do that because they're completely different scales. That's the problem. People like to make up displays and set up displays and shit like that. Now, if you're just talking about this figure by itself, you like that it's 7 inches tall, that's an opinion, but then that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that in and of itself, the fact that it's 7 inches is a problem. If all the other lines were 7 inches, fine. It's the fact that it's so different than everything else that makes it such an eyesore on the shelf when you collect all the lines. What's up? That'll happen. I don't know. I do some research. Just Google that shit. But I mean, there's literally no argument for the 7-inch figure. I mean, there's just no argument that makes sense of why it's superior. Like, there's nothing superior about it. It just doesn't look good with it if you want it to stand out. And that's McFarlane's thing. He wants his figures to stand out and be different than everything else. That's really great. Yeah, that's really great if that's all you collect.
Art thing. No, it's like an art thing to me. Like, his figures are very detailed. Yeah, they're big.
You can do 6-inch figure just as detailed. My G.I. Joe classifieds are way more detailed than his 7-inch figures, and they're 6 inches. So you can't say the argument that you can do more detail at 7 inches.
You can display that argument. You can display that argument, but I just like him. I mean, I've been collecting his figures for a while. I even got his Metal Gear Solid figures.
Yeah,
I thought they were dope.
I mean,
and
they don't. But you can't. You have to admit they don't articulate like anything else. They don't articulate.
I never took them out of the package. They were so dope.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Never took them out.
That's what I'm saying. That's all they're really good for. They're good for like display pieces. They're not even display pieces because you can't really display them with anything else. They're just good for being in the box. They look good in the box. But like once you take them out and try to stand them up, that's where the frustration comes in. When you're trying to, I don't keep mine in the box. Mine are all out. And so when you're a person that puts your shits on the shelf like that, and you're trying to stand up these piece of shit figures, you get so frustrated, and that's why you begin to hate them. You begin to loathe them, and it's like it's not gonna. I mean, you obviously would never get to this point because you don't take them out of the box. But if you're trying to stand them up, bro, they're the worst. They're the worst.
Oh, they are. Oh,
super heavy.
Because I got a bunch of
joints. I don't know what do we make the joints out of? Gel? I
have no idea. Because like that's my only complaint is standing them up. Like all my DC figures I've taken out of boxes except for 2. The Ultimate. That's it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, yeah.
Getting them to stand up is because the ankles are like I had like the Robins when I was buying when I bought all the Robins. Like getting them to stand up was just a nightmare. Like I was like, damn, these things just there's nothing I can do like that. Then they fall over, and then I finally figured out that if you look at the ankle, the ankle can turn 360 degrees, which is cool. But
no, it's not.
Why
is that cool? What's that? Am I gonna turn my foot backwards? The fuck? What is that? Why is that cool? Why would I want that?
Wait, let the hot dogs boil before you eat them. So it's cool that you can turn that 360, but it's not cool.
No, why is it cool that you can turn them?
Can I finish, please? It's not cool because between the two joints, between where the ankle.
No. I said it was not cool. You said let the hot dogs boil in the water. So tell me, how is it good that they do 360?
Are you want to let me finish?
Finish the hot dog of how it's a good thing.
Are you going to let me finish what I'm saying?
Ahead,
okay, all right. So
get to it, dog.
If you break them down, if you look at the foot, and then where the ankle stops, there's a joint in between. The thing I hate is between those two pieces, there's that little middle piece. it can spin 360. But here's the murder with it that I don't like. I like the fact that you can spin because you can pose it, but I don't like it
How
because
can you
there's
pose
no
it
way.
with the foot
There's no way.
backwards? How is that?
There's no
What kind of
way.
pose is that?
We'll get to that in a second. There's no way to actually manipulate that middle joint because if you turn the foot or you turn the top part, that middle joint stays the same. So you have to find some way to actually kind of turn that middle joint and get it to like articulate where you can get it
So
to
we agree
stand.
this is
or
not
pose.
optimal. That sounds not like a fun time.
It's not a fun time. That's what I was getting to, but I just kept
Okay.
getting cut off.
No, because I
You
think
know,
we agree
talk
that
over.
the
Yeah,
McFarlane
we do.
figures suck.
No, we agreed. No, I was just explaining. I was explaining why. Like I was like, look, like I like it, but
Like
I don't
pulling
like it
teeth.
because now whoever designed that needs to go back and redesign that because
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
the major flaw with that.
That's right.
And when I had, and this is why I say that because I had, I think it was not Nightwing, it was Robin Tim Drake, not Tim Drake. Who was the one before Tim Drake?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
It
matter.
does. But anyway, when I got him out of the package, the joint was turned like to the side. So it literally was facing like east and west. It wasn't facing north and south where it lined up with the foot and the leg. So I'm trying to get it to stand. I'm like, why is this thing crooked? It won't. So I sat there and I looked and I turned. And I was like, damn, the thing is facing the one. So I had to I wound up literally getting like a pair of like tweezers in order to turn it to get it to sit straight. So I could, because I couldn't stand the figure up. There was nothing I could do to stand the figure up. And the foot was just like this, like jacked to the side.
No, yeah, no.
And so I was like, well, damn.
They
So
suck.
yeah. And I was like, why? And back then, if I could even take the figure out for you, that particular figure, he made the ankles on that one like super small because they're all different sizes. None of the ankles or the joints on all of those figures are the same size. They're all different sizes. And that's what sucks. And whoever came out with that design, or however they figured that design
Todd
was great,
McFarlane.
they need to go back and redesign that because it's not. It just
The
doesn't do
problem,
it.
bro, I'm gonna tell you, you know what the problem with the ankles are?
What?
The size and weight of the figures. 7-inch does
I
not work.
agree. I agree. No, I agree. I can't
Okay.
disagree with that. Especially if they got super
thought we
thin
disagree.
ankles. No. We don't disagree. So all right, like look at this Flash here. This Flash has a thicker ankle, right?
Yeah.
But if you go now, see how big the ball is in the middle? That's the part.
The ball
That's
ankle,
the
yeah.
problem. Right.
That's
Some
one
of
of
the
the
figures,
shitty ones.
right, some of the figures have ECD bond piece. Some of them have a smaller one, like smaller than that, and it's
Yeah,
hard to
yeah.
manipulate. So what I'm saying is that the top part right here, this bottom part and this top part are separate from this middle part right here. This part turns all the way around. This stays still and this stays. So you have to actually manipulate this to get the character to stand. That's bullcrap. I'm not spending half my day trying to get that to turn right so I can get the character to stand up.
Yeah.
McFarlane needs
So
to change that design. That design is ass.
the problem is just that they're fucking too big, and he thought he was being clever by making them bigger than everybody else's, and it's not there's a reason that they're a certain height, because like physics are physics. Plastic is plastic. Little metal bolts and screws and little plastic joints are little plastic joints. Weight is weight. Mass is mass. Like there's a science to physics. Gravity, all that shit comes into it because there's a certain size you have to make it for the weight of that to not be overbearing on the little plastic joint, and little plastic joints are little plastic joints, whether the figure is 8 inches or 5. It's physics. Like there's really just no getting around it. You can't make them fucking that big unless they're not articulated. If you want to have 78 points of articulation, you got to make the figure a little smaller, but you can't make it too small.
Right.
You got to find the sweet spot.
Or you build them better, or you come with a better design for that ankle. That's it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's no my point being is that there is no way to make a better design unless you just don't make the thing fucking bend for the weight of the figure. If you want to make your figures that big, the only way to make a better design is to shrink the figure or make it with hollow plastic or something that nobody wants. It's real easy. You make the fucking thing 6 inches like everybody else. There's a reason they came to that scale. It's half of the scale of a human of a you know what I'm saying? It's 1/12. Right. So it makes sense. So my point being, like, the reason No, I don't have Mezco. I never fucked with Mezco just because of the whole the way they're shaped. I don't like how they're shaped. They look like regular human beings. Like they don't look
What
like
about
superheroes.
what about one toys? You have any one toys?
What are they?
You have any one joints? One toys or whatever they call. You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about? What's the
112,
Mayfex?
112,
You got
112.
any Mayfex? You got any Mayfex?
Mayfex, yeah. Yeah,
What
Mayfex
is
is
now?
great.
What are their ankle design? Because they're almost about 7 inches, aren't they?
It's the same. No, they're the same thing. They're 6 inches. Mayfex,
They're
bro,
six
they're all
inches.
6 inches. Mezco, 112, Mayfex, Marvel Legends, Black Series, G.I. Joe Classified, on and on. SH Figure Arts, fucking bro. I'm telling you, they're all 6 inches. They're all
And
6 inches.
it makes sense because back in the day when the arena were younger in the 70s, all of them were 12 inches. Everybody came out with a 12-inch
Oh
figure.
yeah,
Like
that was
everything
before
was
my
12
time,
inches.
actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Everything was 12 inches.
Yeah,
I mean,
Joe's, yeah.
you were small at the
I was
time.
born in
But
'79, so by the time
yeah, they were out. Oh, they were out in 79. They were out in 79.
yeah, well, I guess yeah, the
But
375 came out with Kenner with the Star
they
Wars.
came out, yeah, they came out in the 80s. They came out like 82, 83. But like 79, you could still get them because, like I said, I mean, I was what? I was only 5 in 77.
Yeah,
So like like when I would, get a figure, it would be 12 inches. Like that's what they were making. Even up until the early 80s, they were still making, and then they stopped making. But those 12-inch figures, when they cut them down to
sure I had some
3.75, that was
Star
like
Wars
perfect.
figures.
And you
Yeah.
got 6 inch, and then 6 inch came out.
Oh look,
They're perfect.
because I remember on the bottom of the if you had Star Wars figures in the back in the day on their bottom of their feet, it tells the year they were made.
Yeah, great.
And I
Yeah.
knew I had some in the '70s. So the first 3.65-inch figure was Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, R2D2, Chewbacca, either Darth Vader, Stormtrooper, Ben Solo, Han Solo, Jawa, Sand People, and the Death Squad Commander came out in 1977. Then in 78, you had the Greedo, Hammerhead, Snaggletooth, Walrus Man, Luke, RD4, Death Star Droid, Power Droid, Boba Fett. In 79, the year I was born, they did Boba Fett. It was the only figure they did the year I was born. Then 80 is when you got all the Empire Strikes Back guys. Then you got Return of the Jedi in 82, no, 83
83. Yeah.
and
That's when
84.
they
They
got.
did some
That's
in
about the time
85.
they got popular. That's about the time they got popular. And then you
And
had
G.I. Joe
G.I.
came
Joe.
out in 82,
Yeah, they came out with those with
a
3.7. But
375,
but
but
Star
they were
Wars was the
copying off
one
Kenner
they were copping off of Kenner, and Kenner was the
because
one that shrunk them down.
vehicles.
Everybody
Yeah,
else was making 12. Yeah, they were making 12-inch, and
yeah.
the 12-inch was had clothes. That's like the ones we were looking at the other day. What was that Mezco we were looking at? And they
If
had
you
and we
grab
were looking at.
a 12
We were
inch
looking
G.I.
at
Joe, his ankles are fucking weak too.
really, I don't remember because
Yeah,
I don't remember them that far back. I mean, you
go.
probably. I
Yeah,
mean,
if you
yeah,
no,
yeah, I
like,
don't
cause I've
remember.
seen them. I don't remember, but I've seen them recently. You know, like in my toy fair or whatever travels or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you see the 12-inch Joes, and they have little ankle fucking joints, and they're all wonky. Like ankles be all over the fucking place, and the hands and shit.
Yeah, the hands. Yeah, I remember the hands had the.
Yeah.
Because you know what was another popular toy line back then, and I literally didn't know how popular it was, but I did have some. Was the $6 Million Man? I never knew it was as popular as it was. It was
All
like
right.
hugely
I saw
popular.
that on
I watched a
40-year-old
documentary.
virgin. 40-year-old virgin.
Yeah,
I think.
I watched a documentary on that. I mean, and I had the Steve Austin where you could look through the
Mhm.
back of his head and he had the bionic eye and all. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
had that one. Yeah, I had that one when I was little. I didn't have a lot of them.
Mm.
I had maybe two. I had maybe two figures out of that line, but I didn't know
Imagine if
as
you
many
had it.
toys as it was. I mean, bruh, and they're worth a lot of money now. Like I never even knew they had Oscar Goldman. I was like, when I seen that on 40 Year, I said, yeah, they had Oscar Goldman, his
Uh,
boss. I was like, yo, I don't even remember that. But like I said, I was young, and the 80s, like I'm an 80s kid. I was born in the 70s, but I'm an 80s kid,
right.
and
Well, look,
that's what.
there Mattel got the thing back from McFarlane, and we
Mhm.
were praying that they were going to bring them back to 6-inch scale. Like they were. Like Mattel, when they had DC, they were 6 inch. Now McFarlane gets them, they go up to 7 inch. Mattel gets it back, and what do they do, y'all? Tell me what they do.
Make a 7-inch figure.
Even
The,
worse.
the
Even
rival.
worse. Even worse.
Where they go
Six
8
and a
inches.
half.
6.5. Come on, stop.
What the fuck are you doing?
Stop.
What are we doing? What are we doing? You're going between McFarlane and everything else now. So now it really fucking doesn't matter. Now you can't even put him with the McFarlanes. Oh no. Yo, it's fucked. You can't even put him with the McFarlanes now.
Well, I said it when we first found out about it. I was like, I'm just scared because Mattel, they're not gonna. I mean, we can complain about McFarlane all we want, but he will dig deep into the figure,
No, he's
lore and
great.
give us.
Yeah,
But Mattel,
everything. His only problem is the quality of the figure.
but Mattel, they'll, I don't know, and would it even be as articulate as the
No,
McFarlane?
well, yeah. So here's what they're saying. They're saying, they're saying they're going to be called DC Universe instead of DC Multiverse, and they're going to first put out a first wave of a Batman, a Robin, a Joker, and the Flash. Wave 2 will be in September, so that'll be in July, and then Wave 2 will be in September. It says they will be generic designs to start with, and then we'll expand into more premium designs. Mattel has, so let's take a look at this. Yeah, so it says. Name change. The DC Multiverse rights are held by McFarlane until the end of 26. So Mattel's new line will be called DC Universe. Tiers. The rumor has it that Mattel might use their WWE strategy because Mattel does the WWE figures, and they have a budget-friendly figure. They have a potentially expanding to the elite and premium or ultimate versions later. Now, I don't know. I don't collect WWE figures. Are the budget-friendly figures basically just like the regular figures, but maybe they don't have a deluxe extra set of hands or a cloth cape or something? Or is it a just no articulation bullshit?
Remember how He-Man figures used to look? Some of them look like that, and then some of them are like some of them are a little different.
Or knee joints, like
their arms, and they move up and down like this, and they're kind of like in a little bit of a wrestling stance, and that's what you got. I only noticed because one of my nephews is into he's a big wrestling fan, and I bought him, when he was younger. I bought him some of the WWE figures. He liked them, and then they do have like a more articulate one that you can tell it's of a better quality, definitely. But I don't think that's the way to go with these figures here if you want people to collect them, because we're already used to getting more of an upscale figure.
Yeah, I don't know what
the ankles a lot or not. I don't know who they're aiming. Maybe they're aiming that at kids because you can act, like you were saying last week. We don't play with these. We pose them, and then we admire them. So maybe that lead that, you know what I mean, less expensive one is for kids to play with, get dirty, and smash against each other.
I mean,
that's the only thing I can think of.
But the whole thing is, this is the DC Multiverse line. This is supposed to be the kidult, right? The kid adult collectors line, right? They have their kids toy line. This is supposed to be of their collectible line, the premium design line that they're taking from McFarlane to replace the McFarlane shit.
Right.
But because I know WWE figures, like there is some that have just like with like Marvel Legends or whatever, sometimes they'll do like a more deluxe version with like clothes or something like that. Like, because I've seen a lot of WWE figures with actual clothes and shit now in Walmart. So like, and then McFarlane, he has his elite. So McFarlane has elite figures too, right? He's got DC Multiverse, which are the quote unquote budget friendly regular joints that are $20 or whatever, which are the DC Multiverses that we collect. And then he'll have, like, he just started his elite shit, which I think is, he's going to be doing more Spawn and shit now, obviously, since he doesn't have the DC license anymore. But his first elite figure is Spawn. Have you seen it?
Right.
It's got the cloth cape.
Oh yeah, the cloth cape. Yeah, I want that figure. I'm gonna give it a buck. I got a super dope Spawn now, but I'm definitely getting that one.
Yeah, it's a Casual. What up? He said, just give me a good figure with nice articulation.
I agree.
Simple
with that,
man.
Slick. I agree with that, Slick. I agree with that because articulation is the main. Articulation is the main thing we look at. Like, so we can pose him. I mean, he's right. A good figure with nice. I mean, and a good figure. I would assume you mean like a well built one with nice articulation. You're right. That's all we want. We don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? And a good price point because you see Marvel came out with their what was it called, a maximum series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, these are the Spider-Man projects set to release this year. We got Spider-Man Brand New Day, Spider-Man Noir, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2, and then obviously, and Spider-Man and Amazing Friends Season 5. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited for a Brand New Day and Spider-Man Noir. I didn't really get into Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man yet.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was good.
I don't watch the kid ones, but I've heard a lot of great things about it.
Nothing else to watch.
Yeah.
And you like, what do I want to watch? Just watch it. You won't be disappointed.
And I can't remember last time I've had nothing else to watch. There's so much shit that you got to keep up with in this business.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I did watch it. I kept hearing about it, so I watched it. It was good. It was worth the watch.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different spin on it, but it's a good spin because how they try to reinvent Spider-Man every time. So it's a good spin on it. Good. Whatever.
It is. Oh, Nehold. Sorry. Speaking of what?
Speaking of Spider-Man, I just received my Spider-Man 2099.
Oh, did you?
In the mail. Yeah. How many? And you got? I don't know. I think you got some of these guys. Did you get?
Wait a minute. Why didn't I get mine yet? Yeah, I don't even.
Did you get the Hypno Hustler, Venom, Spider Venom?
Hold on. Yeah, I don't know.
Uncanny Spider-Man. I thought you got a few of these. Now
I got the dude with the chain and shit, and I got I didn't get Hypno Hustler. I got Owlman, the dude with the chain, and I got 2099. But I guess which store did you order them from?
Hasbro.
Yeah, I think mine.
For me, this is my Spider-Man. I know everybody likes Peter Parker and they like, but Miguel O'Hara is my favorite Spider-Man.
That's your favorite.
Yeah, this is. I always thought this was a dope. The 2099 was a dope series when it came out. I liked everything, but I wish they'd bring out Hulk, Doom, X-Men 29. I would get them all because I always liked the 2099 series. Man. I thought it was a super dope idea.
Shipping in February. What the fuck are you shipping in February? Big Bad Toy Store gonna ship them in February.
That's where you got yours?
Yeah, well, not anymore. Fuck that. I'm going to fucking Hasbro. Get him right now. February. What the February? Every other place has it. But let's wait till February for fucking Big Bad. Kiss my ass.
I don't get that. But it is definitely a dope figure. I can't wait to take it out the pack. Actually, I might take it out the pack right now. Looking at this guy's little cape. Look at that, man. Yeah.
I'm literally placing an order right now, y'all. Hang on.
I am definitely pleased.
Yeah. No, that's a definite. I'm so salty at fucking what you call it right now. Big Bad. They really pissed me off right now. But they do that a lot. They're one of the slowest. I just fuck with them because they have like one of the cheapest. They have one of the cheapest
shipping rates.
And they are good they're usually good about having shit that everyone else is sold out of. So
that is true. I have to confirm that one with you, sir.
The convenience is very good. Okay. But yeah, I'm not waiting anymore. I'll wait for Owlman and them. I really don't care. I may even cancel them. Like I'm like kind of over like if I don't really like it, I'm canceling it from now on. I'm tired of getting shit and then getting in and just being like, why did I get this? It's like a lot of it is that way. Yeah,
I've done that. So, and I'm with you. I only collect what I really like. I had to have 2099. I don't give a damn about the Spider they ever bring out, but unless they bring out a better version of this one, right? Other than that, this is my Spider-Man. So this is the Spider-Man I'm gonna live or die with. I always like Miguel O'Hara. Always like, and I wish they would bring out Hulk 2099. I mean, you got X-Men 2099. You got Doom Punisher 29 would blow my mind. I literally
they're doing Doom 29 is coming. Hulk 29 is coming. And Well, they just did Spider-Man, obviously, but I think it's Punisher. Yeah, I think it's Punisher.
Yeah,
But it's
Punisher.
Doom definitely is the next one they're doing. That's coming up.
2099. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And the Hulk
because
one is in line as well.
because in the 90s when they brought out the 2099 series, it was very, 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 very creative and revolutionary, and it just gave us a different spin on those heroes. Because all we kept hearing about was stuff that happened in the 60s and 70s. Here we are in the 90s, and a little bit of stuff in the 80s, and we needed something new. And
Right.
2099 was that fresh take on these heroes that Marvel came out with, and it
Mhm.
also was to rival uh, the milestone. That's pretty much what it was trying to rival. They were trying to keep up with DC, and they came out with the milestone, and Marvel needed something, so they came out with the 2099 series. They all came out around the same time, and it actually put Marvel. They actually started selling books.
Yeah. Well, speaking of DC, and books and comics, Absolute Batman is coming out with a new spin-off
Trick.
called Arc M, as in Arkham, but Arc M. And it looks heinous, man. It looks fucking great.
If it's anything like the Legion of Doom, it's going to be off the chain, bro. Um, when they did that Legion of Doom, that literally blew my mind. Um, the way they did it, the way they explained it, it was very, very carefully, and you can tell and elegantly written, so that
Mhm.
when you got to the end of the comic, your jaw was on the floor and your tongue was hanging out. Like
Yeah.
that's
Well,
how that was written.
in
And
this preview, if they what?
if they do the same thing with this arc, I mean, I'm going to be thoroughly
Well,
impressed.
we got the preview, and it's called Batman Arc M, like ARK, one word, then the letter M, Arc M, number one, Scott Snyder, from DC Comics, and it brings you back to 1945, specifically to the day that Dr. Amadeus Arkham decided to finally sell the asylum that he founded. As it turns out, the beginnings of what would become the Joker's Arc M were nothing if not benevolent, no matter how utterly gruesome the circumstances leading up to it might have been. In this comic, Batman Arc M #1, uh, the asylum has not long been a part of the wider Batman mythos. Its first appearance taking place in Dennis O'Neil opening story from 1974's Batman #258, The Threat of the Two-Headed Coin. Um, in the vast majority of the many iterations, Arkham Asylum serves as a prison and a rehab facility for the worst, most dangerous supervillains, that Gotham has to offer, as we know. So in the absolute universe, however, right, is turning everything on its head. Arc M is one of the many clandestine prison laboratories owned and overseen by the enigmatic billionaire known as the Joker. In previous issues of Absolute Batman, we have seen all the grotesque experiments carried out at Arc M, including Batman himself being forcefully imbued with the very same venom serum that gave rise to Bane. And this latest edition of the Joker's story is one of several that fans have received in the past few months. The debut in Batman, Absolute Batman #1, the Absolute Joker has largely been an enigma, except for his obvious interest in seeing Gotham City thrown into a state of chaos, which is pretty much what he's always done. But now he's the billionaire with the power. And so in recent months, all that's changed as the Absolute Joker's personal endeavors and history have come more and more into focus, right? So we have the release of Absolute Evil #1 back in October, and that was the version of Joker that finally joined forces with Veronica Cale, Dr. Eleanor Thawne, Ra's al Ghul, Hector Hammond, and presumably Lex Luthor, who was last seen living out a quiet life in the idyllic town of Smallville, Kansas. But even more recently, in the pages of Absolute Batman #15, we got to see what the Absolute Joker is capable of and where he comes from. Rather than being just a criminal mastermind, he's an unnaturally long-lived force of nature who extends his own life through twisted rituals and spends his leisure time hunting human prey across one of the many numerous private islands that he owns for that purpose. But worse still, the Joker transforms into a literal monster during these hunts. showcasing a sort of devilish form that we've never seen before. But you know, this is basically all about Joker's labs and the shit that he's doing, bro. It's like I can't fucking wait. This shit's about to be lit.
Mm-hmm.
Arc M, son.
Mm. Again, I can't wait. But listen, Absolute and Ultimate. That's all I've been reading all year. I haven't really read too much of anything else.
Yep.
Those two have blown me away.
Mm-hmm. Yo, Casual, you there? Slade wants to know what you think about the McFarlane DC figures, about Mattel taking the license back. And do you think that McFarlane, do you like the 7-inch figures or the 6-inch scale?
And do you like the ankle design? Guess what?
Yeah. The cankles.
Yeah, he's in the chat. Casual's in there.
Yeah. But yeah, that's here's some images of, there you go. Arc M, that's the cover. There's some in the book art. You know, it's not great art like Absolute Batman is. It's more of like more about the story than the art.
Yeah, to me the art looks more like I don't know, like you were watching an old movie. Like that's what it looks like. The art stuff like that. Like
yeah, it does give that vibe too. Yeah. Old giant.
Yeah, it looks like an old movie like you're watching.
Yeah. Well, that's Marvel's, or that's DC's saving grace. That's the comic that I think DC has that well, the line of comics, the Absolute Universe, that I think our generation can still really get into, really enjoy, really like, without having to force ourselves to like it. Because that's what a lot of this shit that they're doing now is. It's geared for a younger generation, and that's fine. What I just don't get about it is I don't know a lot of kids that read comics, so I'm not sure what their end game is there. But speaking of end games, we're going to talk about the Marvel's Ultimate Endgame, because Marvel's Absolute Universe is called the Ultimate Universe, and we've already obviously had a Marvel Ultimate Universe. It's what the MCU was originally based on. But now the new Ultimate Universe is breaking away from everything that Disney's Marvel has subjected us to, and kind of going back to the essence and giving us some real good classic old school, comic fun. And yeah, the Ultimate Universe has a main character named the Maker, and the Maker basically went. Well, you know what? I got an idea. Why don't I just show you? You just want to see.
If Marvel wants to bring out some figures, they should give us these.
What you got?
Look at this right here.
Shadows of Tomorrow. What is that?
X-Force.
But I mean, what
Glorious X-Force #1.
Oh, is that that's the cover? Oh, that's the comic I asked you to get.
Yeah, this is the actual comic. This is the actual Ultimate comic. On the back, I was looking at, they got Wolverine. I like this design for Jubilee they got right here. This is dope, man. Look at that.
Is that mine? Is that one mine?
Yes, sir.
That's Jubilee?
Yeah, look at that.
That's not Jubilee.
Who is that?
That's the girl from X-Force.
That's what's her name?
I have to look.
I can't think of her name. I mean, if they're gonna do, since they were doing so many 2-packs, you can 2-pack this right up.
Fuck is her name? I want to say it's Boom Boom or some shit like that, but I don't know.
And you can 2-pack that right up, man. Look at that cable. Get the Archangel in the back. That ring, like that's that's coming out this month.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely gonna have to read that. But here's the cover. Here's one of the covers. There's a bunch. I sent mine off to get tagged and slabbed. I got the
Yeah, her
I
name is
actually got
Boom Boom. It's Boom
yeah,
Boom.
it's boom boom, yeah. Yeah, 'cause it's on the leg. And I got the Scotty Young variant. That's the one I got.
Oh,
I
okay, yeah.
yeah, I sent that
That
one
one's
off to
dope
get
too.
slabbed.
Yeah, I was trying to decide whether I wanted the Scotty Young or that one.
But this is the last one. I
I
got the
had to go
last
with.
Scotty. I'm glad I went because I literally got the last Scotty Young and I got the last Wolverine and Spider Man.
Yeah, I had to go with my dog Wolverine. I love that picture too. It's one of the better, I think, pictures of Ultimate Wolverine.
It really is. And so I just couldn't. I was like, man, I'm glad I came and got this because literally I got the last. And they're doing a blind. They're doing something called blind bag thing. So you pick
Mm,
a bag, you go home, or you don't know which one you're
yeah,
gonna get.
right.
And
It's,
apparently, it sounds like hotcakes. I guess this generation likes
yeah,
blind
they do.
bags.
They do. I
Yeah.
seen some guy open them and he's like, I got 4 of these and 3 of these. I'm like, fuck that, bro. I'm not happy about that. I just want the one I want. Fuck that. I'm not trying to. He bought like
now
10
be
of them.
now be careful. At the comic shop, they had a note over the comic saying that the blind bags, the spines. So
Mm.
in the when you pull them out the bag, the spines are
You got a
damaged.
bag and board for that one?
Come on, man. Who do you think you're talking to?
I'm saying you finger fucking it a lot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know what I'm saying? You
I got
going
bags and boards for
don't bag
everything,
them up.
sir.
You know what I'm saying?
I got bags and boards for everything, sir. I just ain't bag and boarded. So when you get the blind bag, be careful because they're saying that the spines are being damaged. I don't know if it's from the
Oh
bag,
damn.
the transport. I don't know, but
Probably
there's some of
bending.
loose, and you can buy the blind bag as well. But the loose ones aren't limited. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
my LCS. I don't know if they opened them and had some out. I don't know, but they were saying that when they opened them, a lot of them had damage to the spine. So be
Oh
careful
wow.
when you get your blind bag, and be on the lookout for that if you want to get slabbed or whatever you want. I don't know.
Yeah, if I was, I don't know. If I was at LCS, I might open them all and just sell them like that because I would hate to sell a fucking bag to somebody and then they get home and the spine has a big crease in it. I'd
Yeah,
be
yeah.
pissed. I'd be
Said
bringing my
some of
shit right back to the store. Like, yeah,
yeah,
nah.
like what up with this? Like he said, some of them the staples weren't in right, or
Mm.
I didn't. He had pulled some out and he was selling them. I guess there were ones they pulled up, but he was selling them at a discounted price if you wanted them, whatever. But he did say, you could get them pressed, and that would actually kind of fix it.
Yeah,
But
it's
it
a
will
good.
bring down grade. It will bring down a grade if you wanted to get it graded. So
Yeah. Well, Ultimate Endgame. It's the sort of finale to their whole Ultimate universe, which for some dumbass reason they've decided to end. So they're stopping the Ultimate Universe. I guess who knows why, but this is the sort of the final series. It's going to be a 5-issue miniseries. This is issue 1. It's called Ultimate Endgame, of course, and it starts off Earth 6160 6160. The Eternal City of Olympia, 1963, 3 months after the Maker's arrival. So the Maker is this guy. He's Reed Richards from another universe, and he comes here and look at him. He's all. Let me zoom it in for y'all here. So he's right now he's got the Eternals and he's just killing the Eternals and he's like, no resurrection this time, not for you. He said, I defiled your sacred machine, reprogrammed her to serve me, and deleted the entire Eternals protocol from her memory. From now on, dead means dead. And said, from the venom works fast. The living abyss extracted from the unbeyond. Sounds silly when you say it out loud. These are your final moments, King Zuras. Take them in. Why? Because this is the world is malleable, brimming with potential, as reality is flexible as I am. And you see his whole body's just sort of like bending and working. You know what I'm saying? Your race is by celestial design antithetical to change. Conflict was inevitable. Today I'm embarking on a grand experiment, not so different from the one that created you. Perhaps you can appreciate that. And if your experiment fails, then I will burn it all down and start again. just rips the dude in half. And basically, here's the deal. So the diabolical genius known as the Maker, which is another version of Reed Richards, used time travel to create his ideal Earth by systematically preventing anyone from becoming a superhero, right? So he made Spider-Man not get bit by the spider and da 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 da. So what happens later in the Ultimate Spider-Man grows up sometime during his 40s. He gets a box and it's got like a syringe and it says like inject this fucking radioactive spider or some shit, right? And so like he becomes Spider-Man in his 40s because the Maker goes back in time and stops everyone from becoming a superhero. Well, let me not get ahead of myself, right? So the Maker systematically preventing everyone from becoming a superhero by establishing a secret group of supervillains called the Maker's Council. Now, these aren't traditional supervillains, or these aren't characters that were only supervillains necessarily, but they're supervillains in this. And they rule the world from the shadows. And to help give this world the chance to fight back, inventor and Maker's Council member Howard Stark sacrificed himself to seal the Maker inside the city, a place of the Maker's own design where time and space operate completely separately from the outside world. Howard Stark's teenage son, Tony, then took the codename Iron Lad and began to recruit a network of heroes to take on the Maker's Council and prepare for the Maker's return. That's where he gave Peter Parker the serum. He made all these guys give him their powers and da da da. So the Maker's he's got to fight. So he broadcast the truth about the Maker's Council to the world, leading to a surge of global unrest. But the seal on the dome surrounding the city that the Maker's been trapped inside was only good for 2 years for whatever reason, and those 2 years are up. So the dome is getting. So now the Maker's going to be able to be released and finish his plan, right? So the council consists of the Maker, Captain Britain, Hulk, Magic, the Black King, Emmanuel DaCosta, Sunfire, who is now Emperor Sunfire, Viper, Silver Samurai, and Nick Fury, director of not Shield but Hand. Hand, Hand. So, and then you have the Avengers, of course. You have Iron Lad, Dr. Doom, who's actually Reed Richards. Now, here's a big thing. So, in issue 4, they have a version of Reed Richards becomes Dr. Doom in another multiverse. The guy that does the Robert Downey Jr. Doom, like the writer and shit, he was like the fucking comic book that the storyline of how Dr. Doom is, or how Downey is Doom. You're gonna get the answer from this comic. And in this comic, they show how Reed Richards is Dr. Doom. So if you want to know how Tony Stark is going to be Dr. Doom, go read Ultimates number 4. They confirm this. So, but here's Reed Richards' Doom is one of those. So then you have Captain America, Steve Rogers, America Chavez, Hawkeye, Giant Man, Wasp, Luke Cage, She-Hulk, and Spider-Man. Then you have Venom, Mary Jane, May Parker, who's like a young Spider-Man and Mary Jane's daughter, May Parker. And then you have Ben Parker, his uncle, who didn't die. In this universe, his uncle lived. And then J. Jonah Jameson, all on their team. December 2025, 30 minutes to the return of the Maker. The Staten Island Savage Land, last pristine vestige of hidden tropical preserve. A large organized force. So basically we're seeing the count. So this is all like Iron Lad trying to get shit together to prepare for the return of the Maker and get everybody ready, because it's about to, he's coming back, blah, blah, blah. He's got to get Peter his black suit. Mary Jane don't want him to go.
Yeah, she talking trash. He like, look, we gonna get some time when I get back.
All right. And then he meets up, and you got Doom. There's Doom and America Chavez and Spidey and Iron Lad.
He did the Batman. He was like, he's out there, and I gotta go to work.
Yeah, and then you have this sort of thing that kind of like we just saw in Stranger Things that we're going to be talking about in a second, where the different teams are doing shit in different areas, right? They're all working toward the same goal, but much like in Return of the Jedi, they did this, and Stranger Things, where we keep switching to these different groups and teams who all have to be doing different things in different places in the universe to make the big thing happen, right? and so it's flipping between these all. And then Iron Lad, he's got a clone suit or a suit that he's has it doing its own thing in each one. And he's there or some shit, and they basically show Iron Lad in all the different locations trying to get shit together. The dome. Then they start getting attacked, and then they see all the shield, the hand hell fleet coming through the clouds, and there's a Fury. You're mine now, you fucks. Blow him to hell. The Beast Commander. No, not yet. And they blast the whole thing. Boom, and everyone gets blown up. And the Ultimates Network is down. All the Ultimates Network is down, and they're chilling. And Spidey's like, my spider sense is going haywire, and the field is down. And then they get into this they get into the city. This is the city where the Maker is supposed to be escaping from. And is this the right place? He thought it was some dystopian or some utopian thing, but it looks all fucking like kind of fucked up, and it's all greasy, and they said the air's all greasy, and they got to wear a mask and shit, and it's just a fucked up dystopian gross ass place.
What had me laughing was when he was like, "Don't take your mask. You don't know what this air is like." Spider-Man was like, "She don't have no mask."
yeah. She was like, "I don't have to breathe."
He was like, "Oh, I have to breathe." He's like, "Oh, all right." that was super funny. He's like, well, "She ain't got no mask. So what's the difference?"
Mm-hmm.
Now these are the children of tomorrow or something like that.
Children of tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow, yeah.
These are the people, the inhabitants of the Maker's city, right? And so we're all getting to and then the Maker, but they speak this crazy blah, 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 and then they're like, oh shit, and they start attacking them, and they're getting beat, and fucking Iron Man shoots them with an antimatter gun, and they fucking dust it off, and he's like, they're made of matter, aren't they? Like matter, like anything, nothing can stop. And they're like, well, they stopped it, but it's because they in this city, it works. Physics and reality and everything works differently. So the matter is not matter like it is in the real reality. So, and then you have the black suit Spidey, the black suit trying to come through and take over because Spider-Man's getting fucked up. But Spider-Man doesn't want the black suit. He doesn't like being controlled by it. He doesn't like it. And then with that, while they're getting their ass beat and they realize they have nothing coming, the children get attacked by some other force, and in comes some other children. It's Deathhead 22, right? So it's a version of Deathhead 22 and Deathlock. And they come through and they're all like these fucked up dudes, but like they're part of the city, right? They're part of they're like the children too, but they're like rebel ones. And so they can fight them. And they got like special swords that kill him and shit. And he's like, yeah, it's Deathhead. And he's like, here's Deathlock. And they attack and they escape. He takes the heroes and they escape. And then they're like, he's like, where are we? He's like, who are you? And he's like, I honestly don't understand enough about what's going on. No. And then he goes, let me get to the part real quick. So then they're going to meet the guy that's like leading this rebellion, and Iron Lad Tony thinks it must be my dad. It must be Howard Stark. And so Deathlock's like, I don't know this Howard Stark you speak of or anything like that, but this is the commander, Immortus, Lord of Time. Now we know who Immortus is, right? Immortus, the Kang version, Immortus, who is the like Lord of Time, but this version of Immortus is Howard Stark. And Tony recognizes him as shit, and he's like, I don't know, I got hella kids over the universe. He's like, you might be one of them. And Tony's like, boom, and then Stark, and then Doom's like, Stark, Immortus, whatever the fuck you call yourself, we have come to end the Maker. We've brought weapons, we've brought viruses and poisons, and we think you can do the job. Can you help us find him? I see. I made you with some sense of humor. Delightful. It's not finding the Maker, my forgotten son. It's escaping him. The Maker is the city. So it's like Twilight Zone, doom, doom, doom. And you see the tree that they were checking out, the base of that tree, it's the Maker's twisted face. And the whole city that they're in is the Maker. They're now trapped in the Maker. They're there to kill this guy, and now they're in this city that is the guy. And that's how the book ends, and that's a great fucking ending to issue 1 of Endgame. Can't wait to see where this goes. About to be bananas.
Me agree.
Yeah. But yeah, it's Endgame number let's see, when does 2 drop? Oh, this is number 4. Well, anyway, this is the cover for number 4. Check that out.
Damn, Spider-Man meets his maker.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dope cover. I'm gonna do that at some point.
I don't have many McFarlane toys, honestly. They look good though. That's the thing. They look good. They look good in the box, but once you take them out and start trying to pose them, and not good. They do look good. I mean, nobody can argue that. They look great.
They do look great.
And that's also a matter of opinion too, because like I prefer the more comic book, cartoony, animated versions of the heroes, because they're more shaped like superheroes are in comics. Like when you draw a superhero, it doesn't look like a normal person, like with a normal shape of a normal human body, which is also why I don't like MCU figures or any figures of like movies or any live action characters or anything like that, because the shape of them is just too normal. Like I want them to be superhuman, you know what I mean? Like no human is built like a superhero. And that's art. It's art. Like I don't collect these for any reason but that they're art. They're like little statues, little sculptures. And I don't want little sculptures of just like a guy. I want it to be a superhero, or something in a crazy design and shit like that. But thank you, sir. I wish all companies would scale the same. Thank you.
Oh, that's something that we all
I'd
agree
love
on.
to have them scale the same as Marvel. That's what I'm talking about, bro. That's the big gripe. They're just too tall. They don't match any other lines. And the scale of 6 inches better for plastic joints, because they're not too heavy and they don't fall over, and the ankles can support the bodies. And also they just feel better in your hand. The playability, I don't know. It feels better to me. Now, McFarlane, his recent ones, these, where he's doing this. He's got this one. He's got this one. All these and that new Green Lantern, they're made with a much lighter weight plastic. Much lighter weight, so that they actually stand up good. The ankles are fucking fine. That there's no problems. They articulate well. They feel good in your hand. Like they feel like action figures. Whereas the other ones feel just more like statues that bend in places. Like this feels more like a toy, like an action figure to me. I don't know why. I just feel it's got the lighter weight, plastic, the articulation that can move a lot better. It just feels better. So McFarlane, it's almost like he's like going, "Oh, guys, don't let Mattel take it. I can do it. I can do it, right? I really can. Yeah, we know you can. We're just pissed that you haven't.
That you haven't, yeah.
But no, he's doing it. He's got his reasons. Like you said, bro. He's trying to make his different from everyone else's, which I don't know if that's what you want to do.
It's his company. He can do what he wants.
Yeah, and there is something to be said for that. I mean, sure, but when you're trying to have a nice shelf where everything kind of looks good, and like, yeah, we like to have crossovers, and I might want to have Superman fighting Spider-Man like in the comic, right?
Right.
And I can't do that because DC is 7 inches and Marvel is 6 inches.
6 inches. Yeah.
So that's my gripe. It's not like I like the figures just are ugly or anything like that, but
I'd rather have the uniformity.
I'd rather have the uniformity and the just, I don't know, the posability and the playability. Like we use the word playability, and obviously we're not playing with them, but we mean like the ability to pose them and like make scenes and like display.
New word, posability or displayability.
Displayability, yeah, but that's one thing. Displayability, playability is the ability that it's not gonna like fall apart when I start bending it around. Like Yamaguchis look amazing in photographs, but as soon as you get one in your hand, you notice there's giant holes in the you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
super. It's like good to look at it from an angle, and like the joints, limbs pop out and shit. They don't have playability. In other words, you know, if a kid were to play with it, it'd fall apart.
Yeah. And they are very expensive. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
100,
Gucci.
like
So
100 something.
that's
Yeah,
all
100
that figure. That's all my fit. Because if you, I mean, if I was to collect Yamaguchi, that's all I would collect. I wouldn't even be like, well, I'm gonna save my pennies into it because it
I
was.
wanted to, bro, but look. I got Yamaguchis. I got Mayfexes. I've tried them all. And I don't know, for the money, like I'd rather fucking get Marvel Legends. Like look how cool he looks in a photograph. Like
Yeah, that joint too hard.
articulate. Like you could never cross arms like that with a normal figure.
Nah.
But look at
Yeah.
look at the big holes in his chest right there. Like those huge gaps. Like that's a huge gap right there because that's a whole joint. See that? It's like a whole butterfly, like a whole chest piece. Like that's a whole separate piece. I mean, limbs slip out super easy. I'm talking about that's not playability. They've got posability, displayability out the ass, but no playability. You know, you can pose them all in crazy ways and display them and shit all beautifully, but as soon as you pick them up and start fucking with them and like start manipulating them and stuff, then you see like, oh, this is literally just a display piece and nothing more. And that's kind of like what I think about McFarlane's. Like they're good for display and nothing more, which is fine. But if I'm gonna do that, I'll get a statue. Like statues look better. So if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna get a statue. But yeah, Endgame, Ultimate Endgame, check it out. Super dope. Reed Richards, the Maker, super crazy villain, bro. One of the most powerful villains that Marvel's conceived of to this point. Unstoppable, really, so far. Yeah, he's crazy. He was first introduced in 2004's Ultimate Fantastic Four #1, and he was Reed Richards of the original Ultimate Universe. And for years, this Reed Richards stood as one of the greatest heroes that his world had to offer, all the way up until he became one of the most dreaded villains, you know, in Marvel. And after seeing his world rended asunder by Magneto, being rejected by his beloved Sue Storm, and learning that his world was fated for a tragic end, courtesy of Kang, the Reed of Earth 1610 began forming plans to ensure his own survival at the very least, but taking on the new moniker, the Maker, eventually made his way to the primary Marvel universe, the reality of the Earth 616, where he cemented his place as the multiversal threat, you know, to make a world where there was no superheroes that could break his heart anymore, kind of thing, and ruin his world. So following numerous major storylines and a lot of series heists, the Maker took it upon himself to seek out, you know, a new home in the form of a world where he could reshape the reshape in his own image, and that led to the discovery of the Earth 6160, which is the current Ultimate Universe. So he's from 1610, he comes to 616, he discovers 6160, which is the Ultimate Universe, where he could use his intellect and knowledge of the various heroes and villains to establish a near total dominance over the entire planet. And now 2 years after seeing, you know, after the heroes like from Tony Stark, Peter Parker, T'Challa, kind of stepping up into the roles that they were always destined to be, but had never become, like, you know, later in life, the Ultimate Universe is now approaching the ultimate finale, and the, you know, final issues obviously will be Ultimate Wolverine, the Ultimates, and they're both slated to come out in April, and then that's the last chapters of the Ultimate Universe saga as it stands today. Yeah, it's a horrible thing because just like the Absolute Universe, this was like the best comics in Marvel that weren't super like, you know, catered to a certain view.
Genre, hero view,
Yeah.
and it's good writing. Let's keep it.
Yeah.
Let's keep it real. Let's keep it up. It's good writing.
Well, check this out. Here we go. Let's check out what the Duffer brothers say that their influences are, and we'll look at these movies, and chop it up because, like, I grew up with a lot of these movies. I know you did too. The first one that they'll talk about is called Altered States, and in this movie, you have the deprivation tank that we seen. No, actually, you know what? The first movie that they're going to talk about actually is Alien. Alien, what do you call it? Alien and Aliens, the Ridley Scott joints. So real quick, we're going to look at this. We're going to check out this these images and these channels with Duffers talking and do a little reactionary video. All right. So first, wait a minute. Did they go to where did they? When did they? Wait, did they? Okay, where are they talking about Alien at? All right. I got to be careful of how I play this, so just give me a second. Yeah, I got to be careful. All right. So this is Wired's channel. Go check out Wired. 12 million subs, huge channel. Oh, let me subscribe. I forgot to subscribe. Make sure you subscribe and like. And check out every Stranger Things movie reference revealed by the Duffer brothers. And these are the major ones that we grew up with.
Fans of the Alien
but I don't need to hear them. But I'm just going to show you real quick. These are the scenes. So there's Alien versus Stranger Things. Look at that. You see that? The scene in Aliens as well. Here's Aliens.
Which is dope.
Yeah, let me blow it up real quick. Yeah, is that they get bigger?
Yeah, it's bigger.
All right. So Aliens, yeah, Aliens. Look at that. That's like verbatim where they're blowing the fire, the blowtorch, the flamethrower. I mean, in the cave, and Aliens the same thing. Like the people like cocooned against the wall and shit like that. We see all that in Stranger Things. This is Alien when they go to the planet where the aliens are, and this is them in the upside down walking around. And these are scenes that this is the Duffer brothers talking about this. They're talking about, these are how we design. This is like what we were thinking about when we made this scene. And like, this is the movie that we looked at while we were making the scene type shit. This guy here, that guy right there. Anyway, he's a dude. That dude, he worked on the Alien movie, and in Stranger Things, they have a scene where Hopper walks in and sees a movie, a documentary playing on the TV, and it's talking about this guy here, and they name him and shit. Now, Altered States, you may or may not remember this video in your video store. I know I do. Had to grab it, had to be like, what is this? When I was learning all about the Illuminati and all the conspiracy stuff that I was being introduced to in the early 90s. I went into my video store and saw this 1980 classic Altered States, and in it you have the deprivation tank, the sensory deprivation tank that we see Stranger Things, right, doing with L and 11. So, and it's all about the government experiments and shit that they're doing. Now, did you see Altered States? I didn't see it until much later.
No, I saw it later.
Yeah, so there's the tank lid and all that, and like, yeah, they directly designed it based on this movie. But it is a crazy ass movie. It's super like I don't know, it's very, very kind of out there, I guess. And for its time, it was, totally crazy. But yeah, this is I mean, it's like verbatim, bro, shot for shot. Now, here's a movie that I know you've seen, Stu, and here's a movie that they definitely got a lot of inspiration from, and it's called Carrie.
Yeah.
Where's it at? Oh yeah, bang. So you've seen Carrie, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you've got
Quite
a
a few
taste,
times.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that was a huge, that was a crazy. The book itself was actually kind of what put Stephen King on the map. It's what blew him up. It was his first big novel that was a huge phenomenon and everything. And they rebooted this movie like 8 times. There's so many versions of Carrie out there, dude. But yeah,
And nothing beats the first one.
nah, first
Nothing
one's a
beats the
classic.
first
It's OG.
one. Yeah, it was. It was good. Even when I saw
Yeah.
it as a kid, I thought it was good. Yeah, I was like, yo, this is all. Everybody was talking about it. I was like, yeah, when I finally got to see it, I was like, I see why.
Yeah,
It's
it was
good.
just and it was just good. I mean, it was good. But yeah, they're basically comparing, saying that they got the inspiration of like how you know uh Elle's powers can be dangerous, and if she could, she can use these powers, if she wanted to hurt somebody, and not be or not be in control of them. And they show that in the movie, and that they say they got that inspiration from Carrie. Uh, another classic right here.
Mm, super classic.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Steven Spielberg.
The Berg. Now, this movie, they took like direct inspiration, like shot for shot, like scenes that they like literally got from that shit. And like, yeah, let me do. So you know what? It'd be better if I speed it up. Hang on, let me speed it up. Joie. All right, there you go. Yeah, I mean, that's like that's crazy. You got the chalk, the drawings. Remember, Will did all the drawings, and remember how he's like
Keep,
drawing super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was obviously straight out of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Hang on, let me. Oh, BDBGB salute. What up? How you living? How you feeling, man? We chilling. We chilling. Talking about these Stranger Things influences. Right there, I mean, one of the biggest ones was when and that I recognized, and I was like, "Oh shit, Close Encounters." And that's the fun thing about Stranger Things to me was pointing out and recognizing the shit that I like. People act like that's such the bad thing of like, oh, you're just copying. No, like it's called nostalgia. It's called homage. And when you see it and you recognize and you see what you recognize on the screen, that's exciting, and people like that, and it makes it fun. And yes, I was very excited. Like when I seen the little Easter eggs and stuff from Stranger Things, from the movies that I grew up loving. That's what I love about Stranger Things, the story in and of itself, the actors, the dialogue, a lot of it is very Gen Z, a lot of it is very much for young kids, but you got to remember it's all based on the 80s, and everything that these kids do and see, and like all the references in this show are all from my childhood. So it's like this show is geared towards two generations, Gen Z and Gen X. If you're a millennial, if you're a boomer, it might not have hit for you. You might have liked it, Gen Alpha. You might have appreciated it, but you don't feel it the way Gen X does. And then obviously Gen Z just appreciates it because it's their generation. It's, Gen Z actors and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it's a very social media friendly script, we'll say. And so that appeals as well to Gen Z too. So yeah, it's really it's really for two generations, and we're definitely the main focus. And I love that they used these little homages. You remember the scene where all the little remote control robots start coming alive and shit. That's straight out of that's from it
straight
too.
out of, yeah. That's how
Like
close
that. Remember that?
Yeah.
Look at that. They showed the fucking drum or the cymbal crashing little toy monkey. It's the same monkey that they had in the other movie. Watch. See? That's Close Encounters on the left. That's the same monkey with the symbols. As soon as I seen that in Stranger Things, I was like, yo, that's Close Encounters, and all the toys come alive. I mean, it's blatant.
Yeah.
It's blatant.
But it's blatant and it's good. I
Yeah,
like it.
and nobody can say, oh, I think that I believe this was the movie it was like this is the movie they were talking about. Cujo, they even did a little Cujo homage in the movie. When Hopper's walking through the lab.
I always thought Cujo was older than that. I thought Cujo came out in the 70s, but it's 83. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
I thought Cujo came out in the 70s, man. You learn something. Listen, with that, I got to break out, man.
Yeah. I figured you was going to have to go in a minute.
E.T.
Yeah,
1982.
Yeah, that's the next one we're going to chop up. You said, now that first season of It, Welcome to Derry, was flawless. Can't wait for his next season, 2 seasons. Yeah, that's a good one. And It is one of the movies that they are inspired by too as well. But all right, bro, man, be safe, bro. Fight crime, and we'll see you. We'll see you Wednesday, bro.
All right,
Peace, brother. See, I'm working on content, but I'll be listening to Chop It Up with y'all. This last season, Stranger Things was okay. It wasn't worth 3-year hiatus though. Didn't like it. Yeah, I thought it was great. That was good. It wrapped it up real well and gave us a nice bit of closure. E.T. is one of the big inspirations, though. Obviously, the scene is like, let's see, yeah, where they're sitting around the table. But there's more like the scenes where they dress Elle up. Remember in the wig? Bang, straight out of the E.T. scene where they dress where they dress E.T. up and shit. Escape from New York. Good old Bliskin. Where's he at? Good old Pliskin. Good old Snake. So when they in the scenes like when Elle goes to the city and meets up with her sister that she didn't know she had and all that, they're playing music that they played in Escape from New York during those scenes. direct homage. This scene here. Firestarter, that's an obvious one. Even the dudes in the suits, that looks just like Stranger Things. But you obviously, Firestarter, I mean, that's a no-brainer. We seen Elle pop out with the nosebleed, And every time the Vecna fight in Stranger Things should have been longer, the Vecna fight. Well, yeah, there was a couple of parts to it though. It was kind of the whole thing. Derry was great. Derry is a good one, dog, and they're gonna keep that up too. He said every scene feels reminiscent of classic genre flicks. It absolutely is. That's what we're talking about now. It's not like, I think some people actually got the wrong idea. They like complained about that, and they were like, oh, it's just they're just copying. It's not. They're not. They're admitting it. Like, they're telling you, like, this is what we did. We created this scene to make you feel the feeling you felt when you watched XYZ in the 80s. You know what I mean? So like, that's what the point was, and I think they nailed it, bro, so many times. Firestarter, obviously, one of the things that they say here is that every time you see her do her powers, her hair is blowing and shit. And so they wanted to come up with something that would signify that she's using her powers, and that was the nosebleed. Frankenstein, obvious connection there. Elle feeling ostracized, feeling like a monster and stuff like that. And then they show Elle watching that exact scene when she's by herself, sort of like figuring shit out. And Ghostbusters, obviously, you have them dressing up as the Ghostbusters. And oh, my bad. Hold on, dog. That's fucked up. My bad. Let's get the proper poster up here, Reno. What's going down, man? Sorry. All right, Ghostbusters, yeah. So they do the whole scene, obviously the whole back and forth, the whole Ghostbusters scene, and then you had the whole Venkman scene between Mike and I forget all their names. That's Will. And then we got Gremlins. Major. I mean, you could probably guess. This is the scene where we the whole arc where Dustin finds the little Demogorgon, little slug, right? And it's like Gizmo. It's this friendly little creature that I mean that obviously can become a really gross green goblin. And then we have the man, the myth, classic, the Jonesman, Indiana. Now, a lot of direct references and shit. But one thing I noticed, your boy Hopper, the cop, he's super Harrison Ford, bro. He's like, yeah, kid. He's like, you know what I'm saying? He's always super fucking like, I don't give a fuck kind of laid back dude. And that's Indiana Jones all day. Temple of Doom, Stranger Things, right? We all, I'm sure, if you grew up in the 80s and were a fan of Indiana Jones and shit, which if you grew up in the 80s, you were a fan of Indiana Jones and shit, you remember that scene where Short Round hops in the whip and he pulls off with the little wooden block on the gas pedal. And of course, when we see Max do that in Stranger Things, it's a fucking direct influence. Man, it's really, I think I got it going too fast. I can't catch it. Jesus. Thought I slowed it down anyway. Now let's do a slow one. Never mind. It's gone. Raiders of the Lost Ark scene where obviously where he's fighting the dude, where the guy's like pulls out the sword and he just pulls out the gun and he just shoots him. It's like, fuck all that. And here they're talking about mainly just how Hopper is punching people and shit, like how Indiana Jones would punch people all the time. He's like that dude. And then we've got scenes, just the visuals and stuff from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, that scene. Then you have the Last Crusade with Sean Connery and the scene where they're kind of tied up, bantering and bickering, back to back when they get captured by the Nazis. And here these guys are captured by the Russians, right? Kind of enemies of America at the time. And you can't sleep. You can't sleep on, what is it? Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street. Bang. Never forget this scene. I was a little kid, and I was like, that shit was just ingrained in me, bro. And then years later, when I grew up, and I was like, what was that movie where the claw came out of the bathtub? And that's when I went back and watched and really discovered Freddy in my elementary school days. Great scene where Freddy comes through the wall, uh, you know, like latex. And they did that scene with practical effects back in the day, and it was just fine. But I mean, that was practical effects. They tried it in practical effects for Stranger Things, attempted it, but they said that when they tried it, it looked goofy. It didn't, not goofy, but it just wasn't scary, right? It wasn't scary, and it just didn't give the right vibe that they needed. So they went ahead and did the CGI in post to make it look better. We were just talking about Derry. It is a book about that I'm actually rereading right now. It's a book about kids, like a group of friends, and you know, their friendship basically, and what they go through and how they, you know, overcome shit together and blah 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 blah. And obviously directly, and then and in it and Stranger Things, they fight a big monster together, right? Then we got Jaws over here, the movie that started it all, the beginning of all blockbusters. Since Start Evil Dead and The Thing was big reference with posters on the wall, guaranteed, absolutely. The Thing, Evil Dead, The Fog, bang. And yeah, Jaws, they got mostly, surprisingly, the stuff about Hopper from Jaws, right? Remember the small town sheriff chief, right? The small town chief rather of police, right? And the jeeps, I mean the trucks. It's a fucking same truck with you know, his is a convertible basically. But they definitely, you know, inspired that off the Hawkins Amity police deal. Yeah, I think it's cool that they did this, bro. I think it's so cool that they made a show based on all the shit that we grew up on. It's just it's cool. It's fun. You know, it's not 6 feet under. It's not Sopranos. You know what I mean? It's not Game of Thrones. It's not meant to be. Like people, I think, complain about the wrong shit. Like it's not supposed to be this big, deep fucking drama. It's fucking based on like Hughes brothers and shit. It's fun. He said even clips of the Day of the Dead and the Dream Warriors are playing in the background. Yep. Yeah, and they did shit like that too. They did like direct where they like literally had the movie playing in the background or something, or they had someone reading a book that they directly you know, homaged, and then they did things like this where it's more loosely based. You had the prom scene that's like in every 80s teen movie, and they put that, you know, toward to the end. And I mean, I picked it up right up. I was like, yep, that's a super duper 80s trope right there. And then the big scene in the mall where they fight the big right there, that's it, Jurassic Park. Like scene for scene. Look at this. Let me speed it back up a little faster. It's not going fast enough now. There you go. So you remember the scene where in Jurassic Park where she has to go and he guides her back to turning the power on and shit, and we had to see Bob had to guide Bob to do the same thing. And you know, obviously they get that from Jurassic Park. The scene where they're fighting the monster in the mall. You remember this scene where they're hiding in the gap? They're hiding in the clothing store and the monster's creeping through. That's directly the fucking Velociraptor scene from Jurassic Park. Mad Max. I mean, obviously, Max. They called her Mad Max and thing, and she was, you know, in her video game was Mad Max, and that's another one of those more on the nose direct references kind of things. Risky Business. Risky Business. A lot of people missed that one. That was something they did with old Harrington. Yeah, see, he Scanners. Remember Scanners, bro? Scanners was crazy, dog. That was crazy work. Bah! Exploding motherfuckers' heads and shit. Yeah, direct scene out of Scanners. And like, if you didn't pick this up while you're watching Stranger Things, that's probably why, you know, a lot of the people that don't appreciate Stranger Things weren't looking for this stuff or thought that or they were dumb enough to think that the Duffer brothers thought people would be dumb enough not to know where they got it from, like that they never claimed that they like made any of this up. Like that was the point. So like, yeah, if you go into this thinking like that it's supposed to be some original piece or whatever, you know, you're just fooling yourself. You're wasting your time, man. You're missing out. Like, go ahead and go watch it again now, knowing that it's just about pointing, you know, it's just about the kind of fun throwbacks to the shit you grew up with, you know, because they're not making this kind of shit anymore. Classic. The classic tale of, you know, coming of age, the young friends and all that, and the walk through the woods where they're walking on the tracks, and him and Steve are throwing the meat down to try and attract the little demo directly, you know, from Stand By Me. I mean, come on, like, how are you not getting this? Like, how are you not seeing this shit? Empire Strikes Back. Now, Empire Strikes Back is that vibe I was talking about earlier, where like even in season 5, like this last finale and shit, was how they had like Luke and them was over here doing this, and Han and them was doing that, and you had, you know what I'm saying, like there was all these different things that were going on at the same time, and they would cut from this scene to that scene, and everyone had to be working on, you know, doing their part to, you know, and everyone had to depend on everyone to do their part for what they were doing to be, you know, it was great. But like they took that directly from Star Wars. Obviously the scenes where she's training her and shit and moving the thing, it's fucking Star Wars. It's Yoda, like verbatim. Super 8 was a newer movie that came out in 2011. That was Steven Spielberg trying to do another, you know, kids adventure movie, and you know, wasn't a huge movie. Now Evil Dead. Now there goes Evil Dead. There's your Evil Dead, bro. There's Evil Dead right there. Good old Ash. The poster right there. Evil Dead posters and shit. What? Exorcist. Oh yeah. The scenes where Will is like being possessed, right, by Vecna. Yo, The Fog. That's a classic. terms of the music score, the trailer, they used the track from The Fog in season 3 where Billy's walking through the fog. Goonies, I mean, I don't think we have to even fucking discuss the fucking similarities there. Goonies, like, it basically is the Goonies for Gen Z. The maps and going through the caves and the underground, and it's crazy. And let's not forget it's fucking Sean Astin, right? Obviously, Bob is the kid from the Goonies. If you didn't know. Yeah, I like how they did, and I think it's important that these things were recognizable. Like they did it to be recognizable. They wanted you to know what movie they were referencing when they referenced it. That's what they are proud of, Terminator, obviously, that whole character, the Russian dude. And then the Thing, the Thing, that's a huge one right there. We all remember the Thing. That's a classic joint right there. You have the spidery thing coming alive, and by the way, that the Thing is a remake too. So, but yeah, you had the blowtorch and the flamethrower. I mean, in the underground and all that, where Kurt Russell had the flamethrower and shit. And yeah, the Thing that's a remake. Like the original Thing was like from the 50s in like black and white, I think. But this was John Carpenter's remake. And then they watched the Thing, right? They watched the Thing, of course. Yeah. Witness. Peter Weir, Harrison Ford. Police station when the little boy points to the picture. Ultimate murder. Cop scene. Okay. Right. So if you didn't catch that, that's the scenes where Will is in the police station, and then also where Elle is showing them the picture of. Yeah. Escape from New York, The Thing, we had Risky Business, Indiana Jones, Ghostbusters, Gremlins. Look at all these old school posters and VHS covers. Firestarter, Third Kind. Remember this? Ooh. Takes you back. Takes me back. Takes me back, Jack. Well, those are pretty much the films that, influenced the show. And that's the shit that we grew up with. Now, a lot of people felt that the way this show ended was crazy. They didn't kind of know what to think about Eleven's fate and all of that. But they did. Hang on. So Stranger Things talked to Variety, did a interview, and we talk about the spin-off that they're going to be doing, so that they probably won't direct or whatever, but they wrote or will write. There's an animated joint coming out, but yeah, there is a spin-off coming out of this. Now, is it going to be the spin-off where Mike goes and finds 11? I don't know. Is it just going to be some off the cuff, spin-off thing where there's another kid? I don't know. We don't really know. They're not obviously telling us anything yet, but it's let's see. And so ends the journey. Bop, 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 bop. Right side up. Wrapped up the story. Let me see if there's an interview. Here it is. Okay. In the interview with the Duffer Brothers, he said, you've been clear that you've known for a long time that the final scene was that D&D campaign with the kids, who are now young adults. But how much of the scene did you know how much of that scene did you know far in advance? Like, did you know 11 wouldn't be there, that Max would be there? Break it down for me, please. Oh, by the way, the main reason, I think someone asked like why they killed 11 or what happened with 11 or whatever, but the reason that they had to leave it ambiguous and not tell you what happened with 11 was a very cool reason. In fact, 11 having her powers is the symbolism, right? It's kind of like, it's like the symbolism of the childhood, your childhood magic, right? The magic of childhood, right? She kind of embodies the magic of childhood. So if they kept her around, they would have had to take away her powers, because with her powers, more shit's gonna ensue and the story's not over, blah blah blah. So they'd have to take away her powers. They didn't want to take away her powers, thus killing the childhood magic, right? So she had to go away. She couldn't stay because she couldn't, they the story can't end if there's still this super powered kid that's there. And like the way they ended it with Mike's D&D campaign and the Empress or the Sorceress and all that, like it was all to kind of explain this. And then Mike goes into his, well, this is kind of probably what happened and she escaped and blah blah blah, but they leave it ambiguous because if they just say, yeah, she's still alive, she's she's in Nova Scotia, then, well, the next chapters, we got to go get her, right? So, or Mike's got to go find her, right? So that they can't tell you where she is or if she's anywhere, because then you have, that is the next storyline that people will want to see. And then the other option, of course, again, like I said, was to just leave her there with the group and not have her go away, but then you would have to take away her powers, and they didn't want to take away Elle's powers. And I agree with that. I do not want them taking away Elle's powers. Like, that was ass when they took away Elle's powers. Like, I hate superhero stories where the superhero is not the superhero. Like, oh, I lost my power. Like, fuck, so what? Like, I don't want to see that. That's just a guy then. Like, let's get back to the superhero story. You know what I mean? So they don't want to do that. I agree with that. We don't want to see anything end that we love, right? So of course we want to see it go on and on forever. But like, do we really? We've seen shows that went on and on forever. They end up becoming bullshit, right? They end up doing dumb shit, quote unquote. They call it jumping the shark, right? And it never ends well unless they end it well. Game of Thrones, here's a show that easily would have gone down as the best show of all time, but they fucked up the ending. They botched the landing. They didn't stick it. They didn't complete the story. They rushed the ending. They didn't complete, they didn't tell it the way it should have been told, and it fucked it up in a lot of people's minds. Like, they don't like the show now, and like, which is crazy to me. I still think it's the best show ever. But like Sopranos, that's another one. They ended Sopranos in a weird ass way, but they ended it, but it was still kind of like, fuck, and everybody's like, did he die? Like, what just happened? Like, the screen just went blank. Like, no one understood what that meant. It was just really weird. Looking back at it now, we know that Tony gets shot, and that's why it ends like that, by the guy in the members only jacket that comes out of the restroom. Check it out. But yeah, it's just this. I think they wanted to end it in a very complete way, which, the battle with Vecna ends in the middle of the show because they need, not the show, I'm sorry, this is the 2 hour and something movie. So remember, these shows are usually an hour long. So in the first hour, they have their show and they kill Vecna, boom, end of show. Then they do another hour, make it the movie, the finale, and the next hour is them putting a cap on the end of everything and tying everything off with a bow. And this is what happens to this character, and this is what happens to this character, and this is how they end up, and this is how they end up. Because this is over, right? That they want this to be, this is done. This is the ending for real. This is not, we're not leaving it open for more shit. Well, now they're doing a spinoff. So like, what's that about? Now they're not actually directing it either, but here's what they say. They said initially, when we came up with a very long time ago, we was to put the kids in quotes, play one final game of D&D, put their books away, and go upstairs, and that was going to be it. Mike would shut the door, and closing the door effectively on childhood. That was the idea. Once we introduced Holly, And this is one of the reasons we were so interested in bringing Holly and her friends and Derek into the show, was to be able to have a passing of the torch moment. Maybe that's their spinoff, the Holly Show. And to be able to recapture season 1, right? It allows Mike to reflect on his childhood and feel happy that his sister and her friends are going to have a magical experience or adventures likely they had. Hopefully not as traumatic. But as Dustin said, there was so much good amongst so much bad. It changed them in so many meaningful ways. And one of the Duffer brothers, the other, that was Matt Duffer Ross, said 11 was never going to be there. It was very early on in the writing process for this season that we figured out exactly how to tell the story and landed on, I believe, the I believe moment. And once we landed on the I believe, then that sort of cracked it wide open. That was in those first few weeks in the writer's room, because we started at the end in the basement scene and we wanted to make sure that we got to a place where we felt like was the right ending for the show. And then we built the season to that moment. So they started with the ending and built it to that moment. He said, I love the idea of the original ending of E.T. was them going to be playing D&D again. So I like the idea of doing that. A couple of things. 11 represents, in a lot of ways, the magic of childhood. And we knew for our kids to be able to grow up, the magic had to leave Hawkins. There was never a version that we had written where it was 11 down in the basement. It was never going to be that simple and that easy. It was finding a way to come up with an ending where there was not that simple, but also bittersweet, and there was hope there. Speaking of 11, Millie keeps FaceTiming. Just blah blah blah. Yeah, Miller does. Okay. It's two fronts. Ross is talking about them thematically in terms of the magic of childhood, and then there is this story element of it in 11's choice. Ultimately, it was a huge debate. Curious. Actually, was. Oh, okay. I'm alive, guys. So yeah. I guess during this interview, Millie is texting saying, I'm alive. And that was something they took. So I'm alive, guys. Yeah, no, she's very emotional. Everybody's very emotional. No one's here in LA, so we haven't gotten to see anyone after it played. I'm so sorry. I know what was I going to say. From a chapter point of view, not a thematic point of view, and we had so many debates in the writer's room about where we're going to go with 11. And then we tried to actually express everything we were talking about in the room on the screen. So Hopper's speech to 11 is vocalizing a lot of what people in the room were saying. And then what Callie was saying to her was vocalizing the other side of the argument. The question was, which of those choices is 11 going to choose? And if you, like Mike and the others, choose to believe that she is alive somewhere, then she picks something in the middle. But either way, it's a completely selfless act and a heroic act on 11's part. I mean, you've seen all those pregnant women and how many children they're going to be born, potentially using her blood, how the cycle will exist, and how many other kids will go through what she went through. And she's making damn sure that that never happens again. Right. So, obviously we get the whole sacrifice and the reason for her sacrifice and all that. And then you have fans who are like, but I just want 11. It's like, that doesn't really work with the story. Like, this is the story. This is how it makes sense. And we don't, I think Holly, we complain a lot about like Hollywood stuff, but like they learned many decades ago that what the audience says they want, they really don't want. Like, we say we want certain shit and we want to see certain shit, but every time they've done that, we've complained and it's been a problem. And like, it ends up, it's like kind of like, be careful what you wish for kind of thing. But nah, they know what they're doing. One discussion online this morning is whether Mike made this whole thing up, or 11 actually told him what her plan was, or that during the graduation, Mike realized that 11 never could have gotten from the truck to the gate because of the kryptonite. So that it's not really her, was a projection. He said, the only thing I will debunk is that 11 does not communicate with Mike in any way. But what you just said at the end, yes, at graduation, he's hearing the speakers distort because the principal is so angry and it makes him realize that there was the kryptonite. So how could she have possibly made it all the way to the gate? Not only that, how could she have possibly used her powers to bring him into the void? But there are a lot of other questions. Could Callie have actually done that? Could she have possibly been alive? We like that it's up to the audience. Obviously, we tell you what the characters choose. So, yeah, I mean, they, you know, movies in the 80s and in the 70s and shit, they didn't just give you the answers. Like, they left shit ambiguous. The endings were sometimes not happy. Like, it was not crazy for a 70s movie to have a totally fucked up ending where you leave the theater like, fuck. It was the way shit was. Like, so it's just, again, man, you don't have to spell everything out. Like, sometimes it's good to leave it up to the, imagination. So when you decided to bring Callie back, was it in your imagination that she could possibly help 11 with a potential fake out at the end? And is she alive enough to do that? Well, that's the question. We wanted to bring her back for a lot of reasons. We wanted the story to have to have existed for a reason, and we've been looking for a way to bring Callie back and a reason to bring her back. And this year we found it. But it wasn't just for her ability to project or create illusions. The other part was Hopper and Mike are so close to 11. Mike is such, I don't want to call him naive, but a little bit. He's such a dreamer and an optimist. And I know a lot of people were frustrated with what Callie was saying to 11, and I get that. But what she was saying was accurate in so many ways. We needed someone to be able to voice that, the dark reality of what potentially exists on the other side of that. So there was those two main reasons that we brought her back into the fold. Let's assume that 11 is alive because that's more in the spirit of Stranger Things. Can she reveal herself again to her friends and family? If she were alive, the way I see it is no. Any contact would risk bringing her back out in the open and starting the cycle again. So the stories that Mike is telling, I don't think he sees a version where they reconnect. And remember, if the government or whoever discovers her alive, then they'll be chasing her again. And even after they killed Brenner and they brought the next guy, and then the next guy came, and then Linda Hamilton, and so it's the government. Like, there's no stopping, there's no killing the bad guy. As long as 11's there, the potential for that to keep happening is always there. So this is a fandom that I've realized over the past month or two does not love ambiguity. How do you feel about the fans who are upset that there isn't more clarity about 11? Well, here's what I was talking about, that 80s thing, right? Gen Z, they don't like ambiguity. They want the fucking answer, right? They want to be told this is how it goes and this is what happened. They're not for that, artistic ambiguity. But, that's what it is, man. And Matt said, are there a lot of people said about that? Really? I really don't know. I mean, after volume 2, people didn't understand that Jonathan and Nancy broke up. I was like, what are you watching? Matt Duffer, this is obviously intended to be ambiguous, right? With 11. At the end of the day, it's being told from the point of view of Mike and his friends. They don't know, and the audience can't know. If you knew that she was out there and you knew she existed, then she's very much at risk. So we thought there's something really cool about not knowing for sure and having our characters choose to believe. We just thought that was more powerful than providing a definitive answer one way or another. And I like that audiences are in Mike, Max, Lucas, and Dustin's shoes in the sense that they get to choose or not choose. I mean, I'm definitely seeing the majority choosing to believe and side with the kids. A lot of people are choosing that she really is out there, and that is more in spirit with the Stranger Things, storytelling ways, that she would still be there. Any death in Stranger Things was to further the story. Like, no one just died for the sake of dying or for shock value or any of that. So deaths were very serious, and very, integral to the story. So, but interviewer says, I side with the kids. Can you talk about the final battle between the Mind Flayer, Vecna, and our heroes, and how you specifically wanted to stage that? He said, we're originally going to New Mexico to shoot it. Logistically, it became impossible to move to the finale. We shot it in some decrepit quarry in Atlanta. But obviously, Visual Effects is the best in the world. They did an incredible job. Mainly, we needed a huge battlefield for the monster. I don't think we fully realized how quite large it was until we built the interior sets. And we're like, well, if that's the size of this interior, how big is the exterior? Matt, we were thinking about D&D, and I was playing Baldur's Gate 3 at the time. Phenomenal game, by the way. Check that video game out. And we felt it was very important that the only way for them to defeat it was for the entire party to work together. Everyone had fully realized there was enough self-acceptance that they've resolved their various issues. Moving into that final battle, they're absolutely primed. They're the ultimate team, and it's the party all working together to defeat this thing. And they're each having their own individual skills, right? And that's where we go back to Dungeons and Dragons and something like Baldur's Gate, because that's how you take down these monsters that seem otherwise unstoppable. Lots of video game references were implied to that final battle. So yeah, very much all kinds of media, did they use. 11, obviously the nuclear option, but Will really helps when she's on her back foot. When did you figure that part of it? Well, we knew obviously Will was going to play a major role in it. It just came down to who did we want to deliver the final blow? Was it going to be Will or was it going to be 11? Then we tried to work the way it was actually both of them. 11 throws him into the spike, but Will is the one who allows her to do that. He just breaks into, so it's kind of like he's doing the Scottie Pippen to L's Jordan. Joyce beheads Vecna. How'd you arrive at that? In the writer's room, I remember we went through who gets to do the final blow. It works with all of them in a way, so we just cycled through. What if Steve does it? What if Dustin does it? What if finally we landed on what if Joyce does it? And it felt right for a lot of reasons. She's sort of the mother of this group, the protector, the mother. And also, we never got to see her hit anything with that axe, so we felt like such a satisfying way to deliver the final blow to Vecna. I mean, really, that was great writing because, like, she did have that axe, and she really never did do anything, and she got, she got a lot of beef with Vecna, right? He attacked her son, he killed her fucking lover, like, she got a lot of beef with this dude, more so than most characters. It did work for her to do that. Plus, she's little, she's Winona Ryder. It looks crazy, looks awesome, with her swinging the axe and talking shit. I remember working with the editor and composer, talking about it's going to make the most emotional decapitation in history. That was the goal, and of course, they did cross cuts with everyone's, trauma that Vecna put them through. Was like Glance and Sue. Were there ever a scene in the 18 months after season 4 when Hopper and Joyce realized that Henry Creel, aka Vecna, was the kid they went to high school with? That's another thing. So, guys, remember, they were like all in high school together, and like there was some play that he was in and shit, right? Remember that? So Duffer says, yeah, I'm sure there was. We had to walk a fine line with the play. We don't want to frustrate because there's so much of our audience was unable to see it. To have them start talking about it and then would have been confusing in the context of someone who hasn't seen the play. But I'm sure they did have that conversation. So there was an actual play where they kind of play all this out, I guess. We really needed that final season to be exactly as it would without the play. The play is Henry's backstory after he's infected by the Mind Flayer, and this is how the season was going to play out regardless. So, yeah. So they did a play with about Henry's backstory, and it showed that they knew him and shit like that. And like the moment when she was chopping off his head, she kind of gave a look of like recognition for a second. Let me grab. Hang on. Let me grab. I ran out of water, man. I had to go get some more water. I'm talking shit. The Mind Flayer, Vecna was not the real big bad, right? It was actually the Mind Flayer, which I'm glad they went back to that too, because like I was like, so what about this fucking Mind Flayer, right? That was the big, and then like, so was that just some monster that Vecna sent? But no, it was not. It was actually the monster that sent Vecna in a way. He said, we asked about Volume 1 postmortem, but if you had to define what the rock in the briefcase is, how would you describe it? So there's this little rock, the glowing rock. And this has to do with spinoff, I think, too. So catch my brother. I just ran up and down the stairs. Said, what does he say, man? I'm gonna be sketchy here, Kate, because I will say that I can say this, Ross, because it's so hard not to say it. Spinoffy. It is spinoffy. Spinoffy, yeah, you pinned us down. So annoying. I do want to explain, just because people's expectations go in certain directions, the spinoff is going to delve into that and explain that. And you're going to understand it. Okay. So there is a spinoff, confirmed by the Duffer brothers. And that little rock and that whole, the source of all this shit. So, but he said, but it's a completely different mythology. He said, so it's not a deep exploration into the, he said, hold on. He said, so it's not a deep exploration of the Mind Flayer or anything like that. It's a very fresh, very new, but yes, it will answer some of those loose threads that are remaining. Where are you with the spinoff? We're going to start working on it again on Monday. We've been working on it off and on. We'll take a few days off. He said on Monday. So you don't understand. My favorite part of the show is working on it. It's not releasing it. That's just stressful. No matter how it goes when you release it, it's maybe my least favorite part of the process. I like the creative part. I like making it, which hell yeah, bro. So we're actually really excited, and it's exciting to work with a clean slate, completely new characters, new town, new world, new mythology. Yeah, bro. Filmmaking, making a movie, making it is the funnest thing in the world, bro. It's it. If I had my choice of like dream careers, ever since I was 10 years old, it was filmmaker, director. I didn't get to do it because of circumstances, which I'll not go into at this moment. But yeah, right. So, I wanted to ask you about the review bombing of The Bridge, which appears to be a coordinated attack by people who didn't like Will's coming out scene. Is that review bombing or just bad reviews? Yeah, that's just bad review. Review bombing is when they're artificially like trying to bring the thing down or something. But no, that people really didn't like this scene where Will comes out to the group, which I don't get. What I guess the problem, the only problem that I've heard that I can kind of, I guess, understand is the ones that say like, we already knew this, which to me, I was like, yeah, we know, but like, cool. If that's, you got to have your moment, I guess. Right. So whatever, like it didn't bother me, but a lot of people felt it was like too much, too late, or like out of place, or like we kind of already knew that kind of thing. It is what it is. I always knew he was gay. Like it was not his friends knew. I thought Mike knew. I remember in the scene when they were young in like season 2 or 3, Mike's like, it's not my fault you don't like girls. He said that. Like, so they knew this way back, like seasons ago. So it was what it was. But let's see what the Duffer said about it. He said the coming out scene is something that we've been building up for 9 years now. He said it was a really important scene for us and really had an important scene for Noah, not just from a thematic point of view, but also from a narrative point of view. The show has always been about our characters overcoming evil. In order to overcome evil, this evil, Vecna, in so many ways, represents the dark thoughts that all of evil society. And for our characters to overcome that, it really becomes about embracing themselves and also embracing one another and coming together. That doesn't really explain. That doesn't really answer the question. Right. He said it was the final step in Will's journey, and Will is in so many ways a key to defeating Vecna. Volume 1 is about self-acceptance, right? I mean, yeah, it's sort of step 1. And then step 2 is Will is talking to Robin. It's something that he wants to do. He's trying to figure that out, how to come out, and he knows that he needs to do that. And it's the final step for him, and he finds the courage to be able to do it. And it's really the ultimate fuck you to Vecna. That was the intention. I don't see it as a fuck you to Vecna in any way. I just saw it as like it was a touching moment of like a human being going through their shit. It's the right choice of the character that her sister foreshadowed the death early on. Absolutely. Were you prepared for the homophobic campaign like that? No, I mean, no is the honest truth because it is, as Ross said, something we've been building to for a long time. I always say rare minute. I'm surprised that they didn't expect it. I would have thought they'd been like, yeah, we expected that. Like, we're proud of the episode, we're proud of the scene, we're proud of Noah. Yeah, this is great. I love that there's Ross the most sensitive and Noah because the closer they come for him, the goal is to make sure comfortable and happy with the scene. I've been texting him a lot, blah, blah, blah. All right, so he should be and you should be. The question is, no. There's a QAnon-ish conspiracy theory going around that Volume 2 was, and I'm doing air quotes in case you're not actually looking at me, tampered with. That there were scenes that were cut, including Mike and Elle going to Kamazat's to rescue Will, and Mike and Will one-on-one scene. Have you seen this Google Doc? Someone sent it to us. Yeah, obviously that's not a real thing. Wow, people really need to touch grass. Have you seen the change.org petition with 370 plus thousand signatures to release the footage? I've seen that. I don't think there's a single cut scene in the entire season. That's funny. The show has just grown so massive online. There's just so much information, just tons of it. We would be here for hours trying to bat down the stuff that was not true. But at the end of the day, hopefully the work speaks for itself, and it is the show that Ross and I wanted to make. Netflix was and has always been incredible. I mean, there's no interference or direction at all from them on us. They really trust us, and they've been true from season 1. Everything. Yeah. Dude, Mike never... No. We need to do a wrap. I know you saw the guys in American shouldn't watch it. Yeah, I'm not interested. Yeah. But yeah, that's the spinoff. Let's see. Creators say the spinoff won't be about Holly Wheeler, and one Vecna detail is super important. It's an entirely new mythology. In recent interview, I don't know if I want to, but I will say that Hopper, it is not Hopper mentioning Montauk. There's no Montauk spinoff. That was more of a wink to the fans, deep cut fans that know the show started as Montauk. It's obviously not Holly and the other kids or anything like that. It's something much smaller than that. Yeah. Okay. So don't look for another big Stranger Things type show with the spinoff. And yeah, the show was originally not called Stranger Things. It was originally called Montauk. When they pitched it to Netflix, it was called Montauk. If you don't know what Montauk is, please Google it. I'm not. Montauk. 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 Google it. But yeah, that was the original name. We've said this before. The spinoff idea we have is in the early days, but it's an entirely new mythology. So it's connected and it's going to answer some questions that people have. And there's some lingering questions that weren't answered in the finale that will be answered in the spinoff. But at the end of the day, it's got its own story and its own mythology. Talking about spinoff is going to delve into that and explain that. The Rock in the briefcase. Okay. Matt Duffer teased that one Vecna detail that will be super important moving forward. The Rock in the briefcase that he found in the caves as a child, which marked his origins as the show's villain. The spinoff is going to delve into that and explain that, and you're going to understand it. But it's completely different mythology. So it's not a deep exploration of the Mind Flayer or anything like that. It's a very fresh and very new, but yes, it will answer some of those loose threads and the remaining. So what he means by that is like this whole mythology, this whole story is about Vecna, or it's about the Mind Flayer and Vecna and their realm that they, in between realms and all that, right? And Vecna, like I always knew, like the Mind Flayer is a monster, right, in this realm, but like, who's the god of the realm? Who else is in the realm, right? Who are the people of the, like, what else is here? It's the monsters. There's something else too, right? So That's what he means. Like, it's not about the Mind Flayer. It's not about Stranger Things. We're not going to be talking about Holly. We're not going to be talking about Hopper. We're not going to be talking about none of this shit from Stranger Things directly. But I get what he's saying. It's going to be talking about the mythology of, like, what is that Mind Flayer from? What is that whole reality thing? The wormhole and all that, and the space between the hole and all that, like all that. Like, what's that all about? It's got to go deeper, right? The government, all this shit wasn't all about Vecna. He's a fucking product of the shit. Vecna's a product of the shit. It's very exciting to work with a clean slate, he said. Completely new characters, new town, new world, new mythology. He said there won't be any common characters with the main show. So, spin way off. It's a spin off, but it's a spin off. It's not like some spin offs where it'll be like a couple of the characters from the show have their own show. No. They said the book is closed on 11. Will and the Will and Co's storyline. They insist future live action spinoffs won't link to Hawkins. We've said everything we've wanted to say. Spinoff will be live in a bit of a different world rather than deepen the Netflix's show increasingly convoluted mythology. Now this is Sean Levy. He's the executive producer. And Matt explained also that neither of them want to increasingly expand what could become an insanely convoluted mythology. So they're not trying to expand the Stranger Things mythology. This is a spinoff. Like, I'm trying to think of, there's spinoffs where you would not even know it was a spinoff type shit. And this is I think is one of those. Can't think of a great example. I don't know. But he said the spinoff would live in a bit of a different world and there's going to be connective tissue, but that they've been it's somewhere else. And then Sean Levy said they've been very protective of spinoff talk. And I understand that the Matt Ross bubble is sacred. He said, I'm excited to extend the storytelling life of Stranger Things. I'm not going to call it a universe because that would be too obnoxious. He said, the STU too soon shit. I know you're going to use that. Yeah. Yeah, it could be. It could be. It's something like that. Or it's a shard, a piece of a bigger, I don't know what. It's hard to imagine because they're being very adamant of like, don't think about, Stranger Things. So who knows? It could go anywhere. Yeah, nothing new there. Oh, I hope this isn't real. DC Universe, Tom Reeves, Harry's, Clayface, Matt Hagen. There's no way that's real. Let me see. That's got to be some AI shit. Nah, that shit ain't real. Fuck that. Fake ass shit people be doing. We gotta put a stop to it. But yeah, man, that is our show tonight, man. We basically went over the films that we grew up with that Stranger Things has been based on, and we will be back, of course, every Wednesday and every Saturday. We do this every twice a week. We'll be here at 7 p.m. This Wednesday. So hit the like button and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification all so that you get the notifications when we do a live show. And we will see you guys Wednesday. So have a great rest of your weekend. And thank y'all for coming, man. Salute to everybody in the chat. Peace, peace, peace. We love you. And remember, we always tell you,
be water, my friend.